Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go over Bitcoin first, and then I'll go over the other coins that I think, if we're talking risk to reward, if we're talking a framework that has completed where you can manage your risk on, they look really, really good, right? So to begin with, let's look at Bitcoin, to be honest. I think that's what most people wants to look at. So from the stream I did this week on Monday, from the stream I did, what I was saying was the important area for us to flip on Bitcoin for now is going to be, let me do this one, so let me roll this up here. The important area for us to flip for now is going to be, where is it gone? There we go. Right. This zone that represents the 3 month low, the 4 month low, and the 6 month mid, right? And not in your traditional sense where, it's you're going on the 4 months and looking for a low, but rather the lows of areas where sellers have established control before, right? The lows, the mids, and the highs of those areas. That's what I marked out here. All key levels. Um, that was the area that I said last stream we need to flip, and we didn't get over that. We weren't above that when I was doing my stream last time, right? So we finally broke through it yesterday. You can see we had one, two, three daily closes below, but finally we did break through. I mean, technically we closed below the mid here, but you were above the areas you needed to be, which is the 6 month mid, the 4 month low. And yesterday you finally actually went above and closed above the 3 month low as well. So this area that you need to be above, you're actually above it now. Just this simple move here, just this is very, very reassuring, right? Because over here, obviously on the daily, what this is showing you, that is showing you absorption. Yo, sup, Tony, bro? Nice to have you here. Thanks for joining in. Sup, sir. But this right here, this is an example of absorption, right? Meaning you see sellers, they try to come up here. Buyers went up here. Sellers tried to take control. You can see that from the wicks. You can see that from the candle closes, right? Sellers were trying to take control, but this, you can see multiple attempts, buyers not actually relenting every time they got rejected here, right? So that is a sign of absorption. We saw absorption happening here on the mid to the low time frame, right? So something like the daily. You can really see it on something like the 4 hours to 1 hour, right? This is a sign of absorption. We had absorption, and then we finally got the breakout. What would be lovely here is if we actually manage to get a retest. We don't need to do this. We can carry on going high for sure. But if we got a retest to reconfirm this is support, that'd be absolutely massive, right? Because now if we just go to the daily, you can see rejection, support, support, rejection, rejection, flip back to support, support, rejection, right? So if we can flip that back into support, we've got historical price data on our side. We've got, buyers versus sellers, a confluential area for them on our side. Even if we go back in history, right? In terms of where we've rejected and bounced off in past, we've got that on our side as well. So this is a very, very crucial zone we're in. So a flip of this into support would be absolutely huge. With that being said, let's not um, pretend like we're overly bullish yet, right? Locally speaking, trend is still to the downside. Local trend, we're speaking highs, lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right? Lower high. And in terms of candle body closes, this is a technical lower low, but in terms of wicks, it's not. So if we can now put in a higher low here, right? That is our first step towards maybe going to reclaim these, right? We've taken downside liquidity. We know we've taken all the liquidity in here. So now, if you want to be really bullish, right? I'm going to be honest. If you want to be super bullish, like you want absolutely no argument, no possible argument whatsoever for bears, the ideal scenario you're going to get is you go up, you liquidity rate everything here, come in and put in some sort of macro high low in, right? Invalidating all these lower highs, stopping out all the people that are short from here, put in a high low to confirm. You now, you've got a change in character and then going off. Something like this would be absolutely huge, right? Of course, we don't need to get this, right? For example, we know that when we got the 2020 bull run, we definitely did not get that off this 3 year resistance level, right? We just broke out and that was it. We went straight parabolic. So that is another possibility as well. But just saying, until it happens, we don't know if it's going to happen or not, right? So if we manage to get something like this, that'd be insanely bullish, right? because you've said you've taken all the downside liquidity, you've confirmed a high low on the weekly again, and then you've had a change of character, put in a high low following that, and then you're going up, right? Let me just get rid of these brushes, and then we can look at targets now we have to the upside, right? So let me get rid of these. We'll be going over a lot of setups today, right? So I spent the last week just, in between times, in between when I was free in my business, basically. I've been really, really busy. My business has been super busy, so I've had barely any time for myself. But in between that, I've been just compiling a list of coins that are just in the main places. So we'll go over Bitcoin first, and then we'll start looking over the other setups as well. Over here, we can see if you turn these key levels off for now, right? Um, we know where the upside targets are. And the reason for this now is if we take a look at these two, right? These two are harmonic patterns, right? Firstly, let's do this one at a time so there's no confusion. We firstly have a potential, I'm going to say potential because they've not come to play yet, but it is in the final leg, right? It's in the final leg. The first one we have is a potential Gartley, right? We can see from the peak to the low to this B, you do have a 618, right? You have a 618, you have a 0.777. So therefore, so far you have all the ratios necessary for you to go up and put a Gartley in, right? And again, there's a reason why this Gartley is valid, right? We know this is a key area. You can see all the rejection, right? Support, 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 rejection, rejection. This Gartley lines up with historical support resistance, right? If we were to take a look at this in terms of just areas where sellers have been in control again, right? So if we go to the 4 months or the 6 months even, if I go to the 6 months ones, what do we see here? What is this candle telling you, right? This candle is telling you, okay, well, buyers were clearly in control of this candle. If you take a look at what this candle is telling us, think about it in terms of buyers versus sellers. Candle opened here, sellers took control down to about this area before buyers took control back, right? Buyers took control back and were in control all the way up to 73,757. Once 73,757 was hit, this is the area now that I've marked representing seller control, right? This is the duration where sellers took control back from the buyers. So I'm marking that out as an area where if you want Bitcoin to now make new highs, first thing you need to do is flip 62,777 into support. Then you need to flip 68,240, this general area into support, right? Then 73,757, that needs to be flipped into support. If you can do that, you're saying you're above, the area where sellers were in control that pushed Bitcoin down to this price. Then you can look for higher prices, right? Because on the left, again, you'll have no resistance. So that is why I'll mark this out, right? So all I've marked, I've called it a seller zone. I've just marked the seller zone, right? And that's it. So if we draw the seller zone now in the 6 months, right, we can see these are the three areas that need to be flipped into support. If you see any more weakness going into here, right, that's just another area where you can hedge a short, right? Because you're saying if you see weakness at those levels now, you're saying you're seeing weakness at an area where we know historically now sellers have been in control anyway, right? So that is your reason. Look for that tight RR setup, hedge your longs with a short, and then write it down until maybe you flip the one into support or something, right? But that's why I've marked this general area out, right? It's a key area. So we can see then that the Gartley, I just pointed out, right? That Gartley does line up, right? If I turn this one on real quick, that Gartley D point does line up with the mid of the set area as well. So we have historical support resistance as confluence. We definitely have some fib levels there as confluence as well. But now we also have this seller zone mid as confluence, right? 786. So this becomes your first target for this potential leg up now, right? And harmonics have been playing out really well in this range so far. Like I've already pointed this out, but just note that we did have a bearish shark, another bearish shark, and then a bearish Gartley again. Right? It's exactly the same pattern we're printing now. We had a bearish Gartley in here, right? And that again gave you a really nice, outperforming move, right here. And what we've done for now, we have flipped the C points of this macro bats back into support. And again, like I said last stream, if this is flipped into support, you have zero reasons to be sitting there waiting for this, right? So for now, you're not even thinking about this 886 just because you're above the C point. The C point has flipped into support once more, right? So there's no point now waiting, hoping for this. The more probable target, currently speaking, as long as you're above the C point, the more probable target now is this harmonic, right? These two. The first one being this Gartley, like I was just saying, 786. If you go here, right, and for example, you push up, you get the Gartley, come down, put a higher low in. Firstly, this would be amazing, especially if you rated the Gartley and then came down. That would be absolutely amazing. The reason for that is because you'd be the two last lower highs we had, you would be technically making a higher low compared a higher high compared to those lower highs. And then anything else after that is just a confirmed higher low following this change in character, right? So you would have technically broken downtrend on the daily as well, right? And from there, potentially what you have is if you then manage to flip this D point into support, you do also have a butterfly, right? 763. So basically 786 is within the allowed deviation range, 787, 1.27, 1.88. Right? Your butterfly target is at 75,657, right? So if you flip the Gartley level, then that is the next area I'll be looking for. And whether we, absolutely crash from here, whether we get to new highs, that depends entirely on how bullish are you, right? Do you think we're in for a big move up still on Bitcoin? Do you think we're going to rate the highs and then come lower? Who knows? Maybe you get 68K and then you drop down, right? Maybe you get this 68K and then you drop down to finally go and fill the macro harmonic we were talking about. Where is it? This one, right? Maybe you go up, hit this D, and then come down and do something like this, right? It's all in the cards, right? We're not going to sit here and act like we know exactly where price is going to go. All we're going to do is take some triggers. So for example, this is a BAM trigger. And if you're above that trigger, we have an argument for buy side, right? We have an argument for buy side, then we have these higher targets in mind. If we're below that, we have an argument for sell side, right? All we can do is manage our risks at key areas, even taking into account, especially what price action tells us, and that's it. That's the best thing we can do. So for now, price action has told us, look, buyers are willing to step in here, right? Buyers are clearly willing to step in here. Price action is currently telling us that if I get rid of this ones, price action is currently telling us that what was once key support and key resistance is once again attempting to be flipped back into support. And again, if you flip back into support, technically you're reclaiming this old range, right? This old range, you're reclaiming it. So you now have an argument again for that 68K potential, right? Because you can see every time you get above this area, you have more often than not gone and hit that area, right? The only time you didn't was the last move down we had. So price action is currently telling us, buyers are showing action. So that's what we're going to play against, and that's what we're going to go with, right? We're not going to be blindly bearish for no reason. So those are the key levels on Bitcoin. That's the price action also that we've had on Bitcoin following that, right? So a few other areas to watch is firstly this one. And this is because now, same as we did on the 6 months, right? This is the 4-month area where sellers were in control now. So I'm just marking that out as well, right? So these become key areas for us to get over. And these are key areas because look what happened this particular 4-month candle, right? Look, you went up. Where did you reject off of yesterday? If I go to the daily, you will see it's that 4-month low, right? 4-month low. That's exactly what you've rejected off of for now. 60, 67.5, right? So when done properly, because these have taken price action and historical price context into account, these levels become very, very significant. Right. So yesterday we went, parked literally right at it, and that's where we're rejecting off of. So getting above this is very, very important if you want to get higher. Right. Again, that is 4-month low, right? 4-month seller zone low. Here's your 4-month seller zone mid in yellow, and then the top is the same as the 6 months, obviously. With reports, we did have this one here, right? So first and foremost, this right here is we already went over this last stream. I'll just touch on it. We had a daily buyer zone, which is what you made a higher low on before going higher. You also had a weekly buyer zone from previous candles. You had a weekly buyer zone. If you go on the weekly, you can see it right here. Weekly buyer zone, right? Again, you reconfirm the bottom of that into support as well, closed up off the mid, right? And last but not least, you had what is this? Is this the higher time frame? Yeah, this is the 6 months. So let me get rid of this one. You also had this, right, which is the previous 4-month close now. Right, this is your 4-month buyer zone right here, and you can see again what you did. You flipped the mid of that into support, right? So if I turn this off and this off, you turn the mid 0.5 into support. You created it, came down, confirmed the mid of the 4-month buyer zone into support, right? So a lot of confluential areas from where we bounced from, but the trend is still lower highs and lower lows for now, right? So Bitcoin still has a lot of work to do. I don't get it mistaken. There's still a lot of work to do. Buyers still have to put a shift in for us to trend back bullish on all time frames, right? But these are signs you like, right? Especially, like I said, I'll just go over this one last time. Especially this, not this. Especially this. A reclaim of this would be huge, right? You confirm a 59015 as support. You confirm a soft flip of this. What you're saying is previous 4-month candle body close, you're confirming into support, right? So from here, you have a reason to then target high. So all in all, Bitcoin looks good, right? For now, it looks good locally speaking, but just let's not forget that we still have a trend to break out of, right? But like I said, September historically red, and we did already catch the median down move. I said this last stream. The actual people were waiting for September, like I think because people think it's Rectember. People said they're hoping for 30-40% drawdowns. When in reality, if you actually check, if you calculate the median drawdown you get on Bitcoin in September, I think it's like 7%, between 6 to 7%, which is we got the 7% drawdown before we got this move back up. So the median drawdown was actually hit, right? So very interesting times ahead for sure. Now, these aren't going to be areas where you're blindly long, of course, right? Especially I'm talking about Bitcoin. But you see any sort of buyer confirmation or signs of strength at these key areas, supports, resistance being flipped into supports. You wait for those candles to close, or you time frame align to a lower time frame, and then you enter your trade, right? Don't just enter now because of the pump. Wait for clear entries, right? We don't just enter because you're feeling euphoric out of nowhere. Wait for the clear entries now, right? So if we flip at this level, for example, go and flip this into supports, things like that. There's all going to be clear entries where you can manage your risk around those particular areas, right? And risk management, obviously, we all know, that's the most important thing. So that is Bitcoin, currently speaking. Let me check back on chat as well, just to make sure there's no questions. You're up 2%, brother. So that is Bitcoin. ETH, I think it still looks a bit weak, but it's held. Hey, at the end of the day, right? ETH has held the key area, like I said, that we need to be holding. It's held the key area. You've not got any kind of body closes at or below it. So on a higher time frame perspective, ETH looks completely fine, right? Yes, this was ugly, but as long as your key areas are being held, you can't complain, right? So from here, if this is held, you're saying back up towards here we go. That's what you're saying, right? Flip that into support, you're saying this is where you go next. And if you take a look actually at ETH against BTC, right? ETH against BTC. We were looking at this last stream as well, and this is something we were looking at for ages, right? This potential card, nearly a perfect 618, 886, nearly a perfect 786 down at these levels, right? So should we get towards 0.03671 sats, right? We're saying this is where ETH against BTC has put in a multi-year Gartley all the way from 2020, 4 years in the making, right? So this Gartley would be completed, and in my personal opinion, this is for now where I'm looking at ETH against BTC to bottom, right? Of course, we might just, if we do this, whatever, right? It'd be disappointing, but whatever. But this would be absolutely huge, especially considering it's been 4 years, like I said, that this has been in development. Put this Garley in, and that's where ETH against BTC bottoms, hopefully, and then we reclaim the box, and then we start going higher again post halving year, right? So that's the seasonality I've got drawn on these vertical lines. It's the seasonality. You can see ETH against BTC technique in the previous cycles has outperformed Bitcoin during the halving year, but then severely outperformed Bitcoin post halving year, right? It was that case in 2015. Sorry, 2015 to 2016, right? So the 2016 halving year, you've got the outperformance, but then post 2016, post halving year, you got huge moves up, right? And the same again, 2020. So 2020 halving year, we got ETH against BTC starting to outperform, and then post halving year is when ETH against BTC really expanded, right? And so far this cycle, we haven't actually had that. We've had, halving year ETH severely underperform, right? Which isn't a bad sign, right? Which isn't a bad sign. You're just saying, look, money's still in BTC, right? The cycle's not going to line up perfectly each cycle, obviously. But post halving year, hopefully, is where you really see, after Bitcoin has really got its stride, got to areas where we think, okay, this is looking a bit toppy. That's where ETH against BTC is really going to start performing, right? And the thing is, we're probably looking at post 2024 for that. So hopefully by 2024 end, we get this godly, right? Whether that's because Bitcoin pumps while everything else doesn't, or that's because, it dumps harder than Bitcoin should Bitcoin get a pullback. However, whatever combination of circumstances leads us to take the 786, I hope we get it before 2024 ends. And that'd be huge. Because then getting ready to be like, okay, we're post 2024, ETH against BTC has hit this godly. Timing would be perfect, right? It'd be great. So ETH against BTC. approaching very, very key areas, right? Multi-year key areas, multi-year in the making. Yeah, how you doing, 2%, bro? Hope you're good, man. That's ETH against BTC, right? So now, we looked at ETH, we looked at BTC. Let's just look over some of the setups that I was talking about, right? So let me go back to focus. What's over here? Where is it? Right, so what the projects I'm in, I've already said this last stream. Um, Injective, Aptos, Ondo, Vanry, and then Say, right? Those are my top five. Swee's there as well, of course. Got some positions in there, but my Sweet bag isn't as big as the others, right? Which might change in the future. But what I've done is I've looked at it in terms of harmonics, okay? Just because when if we're talking macro positioning and we're talking macro confluence, when you get these macro M shapes that especially adhere to a framework is so powerful, right? So I've divided this into two points where I see harmonics have completed, points where I see, uncompleted harmonics, and then memes, right? That I'll just separated it into those three. So we're gonna go, let's actually begin with memes, and then we'll go into everything else because there's lesser memes, right? I'll just go over the ones that have a harmonic completed for now. This one doesn't, right? Mu, this one does have a harmonic completed. If you take a look, what we had originally, and this is one that I actually shared in the crypto chat a while back when this was going on. We did have a bat, right? 886, 886, 1.84, 0.5. This was a bat. And the bat gave you a really, really nice reaction. Following that bat, what we had now, what we see over here is, right? We see another bat, right? We see 0.44. Basic, within the ratio, within the ratio, we have an 886, right? What we're saying is we have another bat that has completed, right? From July of 2024 to August of 24, we have a completed bat, right? So this is a completed M shape, and then you also have a type 2 return, right? This is your completed bat. This is your type 1 reaction, right? And then this here, this is your type 2 return, and the type 2 return has been successful, right? So now if you see, if you see any, you go on the lower time frame if you wanted a really, specific entry on leverage. But if you're going spot, what you're saying is, okay, I'm gonna just layer in this particular area, right? If you're going to layer in, I'm going to layer in at this area, right? Enter a bit here. I'm going to layer in at this area, either at higher lows or if I see key areas being flipped, for example, we know this is resistance. We can see just by looking, right? Open some, if that gets flipped, open some more. If you hit these lower levels, open some more. Just ladder in, right? If we're talking in terms of laddering in to manage your risk, this is now at a great area for you to manage your risk because you're saying, look, should the D be lost, I do not want to hold this in, right? Because you've got the type 1, and for now, you've got the successful type 2 retest. If this is lost now, what you're saying is the type 2 retest isn't successful at this particular 886, right? So if you start closing below this, because you've laddered in, right, you're not going to be risking much, even though we are now technically 15% away from the 886. If you ladder in, you're not risking 15% of your entire port or whatever your position size is, right? You don't have to go all in, right, at once. You can ladder in, just absorb any lower time frame moves you might get, right? So Mu, firstly, in terms of memes, is a really, 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 really nice place to consider, laddering it, right? Because you've now got the confirmation that this 886, you've got the type 1 reaction, confirming the validity of the 886, but you've got the type 2 retest, further confirming that what buyers are active here is indeed valid, right? So you have a reason to be in this trade targeting the top side, right? So you'd now be basically be targeting this C to A, right? So whereas from here to here, if you ladder in, you have a 15% risk. From here to here, you have or basically a 2x in your disposal to the A, right? So Mu at an area we can definitely consider getting some spot if you wanted like a soul-based meme, right? A cat token meme. We'll go over memes first because there's very few of them, and then we can go on to the proper projects and stuff. One cats. Now this
No,
is
what's good
one.
with it, man?
Yo, what's up, brother, bro? How you doing, man?
Good weekend, man.
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure. I've been
There's
so
some people, who what's up, Hoop? Tony Montana here, 2%. Good stuff, man. Yeah, very good setups, man. Also, the shadows we went over on your stream on Monday, man. They did great.
Yeah, for sure,
They
bro.
are
They've
doing
been
great,
doing
man.
really, really well. BTC showing
Awesome.
really good signs of life for now, which I'm really happy to see. Um,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
today,
it's still weekend, but yeah.
yeah, for sure, yeah. Let's see what Monday brings, right? But
Yeah.
for now, looking good from the Bulls so far, locally speaking, anyway. So if they can
Yep.
keep this up, it's gonna look much better. But yeah, today I spent this week just
Of
creating
course.
like a big list of a load of different projects that are really good areas. So just going over that, bro.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. And then so okay, anyway, let me just get these quick memes out of the way first, right? We only have a few of them where they're a good area. So one cat, this is a BRC meme, okay? If anyone wanted a BRC meme to sort of get into. What I see on one cat is firstly we had a this right here. This is again a bat, okay? 0.886. This is the 886 of a bat, and just above that, you have the 2.618 of the bat as well, right? For the extension. So basically what he's saying between this 2113 and 2456, this area is the PRZ for this bat that you're interested in, right? If you're below this, I will not buy. I'm not saying buy this right now, okay? But if you go and see this now, you see buyers take this back above, and then more importantly, use this as support, regard this as support once again. In my opinion, you're targeting this harmonic framework, right? You've got your B, you've got your C, you've got your A. Right? After Bitcoin pumps, trust me, these BRC20, they have the potential to run really, really hard, right? It's just literally, it's that filter down effect. When the parent coin runs, then the layer twos, all of that within that parent coin also tends to run, right? It's the same effect here. So should you, maybe just copy these levels down if you don't want to be asked finding the harmonic itself. Set some alerts. If this is a project you're interested in, of course, should you flip this area, okay, you get above that 2.618, 0.886 area here. Should you get above this, you are, I've not even done the T1, T2, right? I'm literally just going off the extremities of the harmonics, B, C, and A. Very, very easy. These are your three main targets. So this is one cat. Let me just delete these. 1 second. There to there. Delete. And what we also have is, locally speaking, right, for a type 1 reaction, you also have this, right? This is a butterfly, again, 1.13. Sorry, no, this isn't a butterfly. This is a shark. You have a shark harmonic, completely valid, all ratios adhere to. Of course, this is um, for now, I'm implying that the bottom is in, right? The C gets violated, then of course this harmonic's invalidated. We have to look for a new one, which is why I'm saying don't enter yet, right? Don't enter yet. Wait for this to be reclaimed for a way better entry, in my opinion, right? Even in terms of where you see historically buyers and sellers have been active. This is not a good place. This is a way better area to pivot around. So wait until you get the flip of this. It'll be much easier to manage your risks. But yeah, one cat, that's another one that's promising in terms of if you reclaim this, you're in good stead, right? You have a really nice completed M shape to then pivot around. Moo, let me take a look. This one falls under harmonics incompleted. I did not see a macro harmonic that lines up with this local area being the bottom. Of course, this is a great area, and I do own some Moo myself. This itself is a great area, just because. One sec, let me see. What did I do here? You could argue there's a godly, right? And this is what I was going to say. You could argue there's a godly, if you take that B point as being in context, right? So you can see price went all the way down here, but buyers reclaimed it, right? If you argue at that point, then you could argue you do have a godly that's bottomed out here. But the way cleaner harmonic, in my opinion, a much cleaner one is the 886 retracement. Again, there's no guarantee this is going to play out, right? And another thing is, if you're unsure about a harmonic in terms of liquidity rates, a good way to do it is go on the line chart. Okay, so from here, switch from the candles to the line. And in terms of line charts, this is a valid Gartley, right? So if I unlock this, and let's see if this is valid in terms of line charts. Yeah, in terms of line charts, we do have a valid Gartley here, right? I mean, it's a bit shallow, but taking the actual liquidity wicks down, if I now turn it back to candles here, taking it to this like that, you could argue, the validity of this Gartley, but it's a bit nuanced, right? Because now what we're doing is we're saying we're taking the line charts in some aspects. So we're taking the line chart, line chart, line chart, but then we pinned it to something that's not a line chart, right? So that's what I mean when I say I'm not taking this as a proper proper harmonic because this is all in context, right? All in context. I've included the wicks for some, not included the wicks for others. So this barley is in context, but the way cleaner harmonic again and an incomplete one is this macro shark. This shark would be amazing, 886, right? A deep retracement. Um, we're not forget about that shark, right? For now, because at the end of the day, the area where we are at currently is major area for Mumu. And as long as buyers are defending this area, you're not going to get that level, right? So if you're is Mumu is a coin that you want, and I would definitely recommend if someone is looking to add memes to their bag, Mumu is definitely one you should be looking at. I think this one is going to do amazing in the pool. Um, this is one you should definitely be looking at. This is the area where you try to layer in and you just cut if you get below here, right? If you close below this box, cut, and then you'd be aiming for this harmonic target, your next layering area. So for now, Mumu, you do again very contextualized Gartley, but the cleaner harmonic is the M shape, right? It's the M shape, that bigger M shape, the shark. So that's Mumu. Brett, another one. Brett, I definitely have some Bretts because obviously this is the biggest meme on base, right? And if you still believe in base as a narrative, you're gonna want Brett in your portfolio. Even structure-wise, this is obviously bullish. Look, higher highs and higher lows speaking. But again, let me turn this off once, right? So I'll talk about trends at the least. Let me first turn on these potential harmonics. The first thing you have is very, very deep, you have a complete macro 886 again, right? A macro bat, right? I'm going to always go from the higher time frame, put down the macro first, right? Because these are going to be significant should they play out. So even if you don't think they're not going to play out, definitely at least mark them out, right? We have, if you take from all-time low of the CoinEx chart anyway, this has more data, March 2024, from the all-time low, we take it up, down again. There is a 886 there, right? Now, if you do this and you go on to like a exchange that is not trading view, because obviously Brett's gonna have been on, there's gonna be data on base before he came on trading view, right? So if you take that in regard, this harmonic might be completely invalid, right? But just from what I have on this chart, the 886 does line up over here, right? Macro bat 886 around 36997. Second, what we have is another M shape, and again, this is another bat. I'm just taking it from the next higher low, right? 886, same, all the ratios I did to 886. We do have a bat, and that now gives you this 886 at 0.42479, right? Following that, what we have is another bat, again, from the next higher low, right over here, right? From there, we have this bat at 48669, right? So that's where this level comes from. Then what we have is you have one more harmonic, which we have, if you take your X from here, X, A, B, C, D, we have a butterfly, right? Which lines up pretty much perfectly with that macro bat 886, the 1.27, around 3753. So you have four different harmonics that are alluding to the fact that you could get a deeper pullback to this area. Right? So the arguments are there as to why you could go lower, especially if you then throw in the trend and you say, yes, the macro trend is higher highs and higher lows, but we are currently up against major resistance, right? And buyers haven't tested it yet, let alone a breakout, right? Buyers haven't really shown what they're willing to do here yet. So we do not know, should we hit this zone, is Brett actually going to break out? Or are we going to have one more pull down? We don't know that, right? If you get something like this and then you get the breakout retest, you confirm you have actually broken this downtrend, then you're less likely to be just sat there thinking, oh yeah, I'm just going to wait for this harmonics anyway, right? Because now at least you've confirmed you're above this area where sellers have used to suppress the price in terms of trend. Are you above that? So now you have another argument for buyer side. We
By
already
the way,
know.
wait a minute. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, bro, no problem. Go on.
No, so you can easily like also manage risk here. If you put the horizontal on the wick all the way to the left, you have that little exchange listing wick. I think
This
that
one
one.
here.
Yeah, I think if you put a horizontal there, it's literally at the price where it is right now, right? So I think if you put the stop loss, yeah, right
Yeah,
there. If you
yeah,
put a
right
stop
there.
loss
Yeah,
under the wick, I think this is gonna just come down. That's
yeah,
what I saw because you use that as support so many times. Actually, a strong support zone. Damn,
yeah.
look at that, man.
It's huge.
It's on daily.
Absolutely huge. Yeah, bro, for
Yeah, if
sure.
you enter here stop loss under that, then yeah, I don't see the issue. But I don't know how much percent that is from now, right? Because you're right, it's a resist. I wouldn't really want to enter here because this thing can get rejected.
Yeah,
If it came back down here, then yeah, why not, man? Yeah, good one.
yeah, for sure. Bro, yeah, that's a really nice wick there, actually. Yeah, major support here. Really, really strong respect to the level. Um, but yeah, so you've got that, you've got the trends, you've got this trend which you're using as demand, right? Who knows if you reject here, maybe you get one more tap down, which would then take you to these levels. And you also have your macro trend, which I haven't technically tapped yet, right? So maybe a tap at that, a rate of that, hit that, reclaim and go. Just a potential scenario I'm describing here, right? Doesn't mean it has to happen. Something like this, right? Something like that. But at the end of the day, you are at resistance currently, but like Reda said, there is if you wanted to fly very, very, you wanted to enter here really badly, you do have an area where you can manage your risks very, very easily. Right? You close below this, you cut, and that's it. So Brett, that's another meme. That looks good structure wise. Again, if you have a deeper pullback, in my opinion, it will look even better. But currently, as where we stand, we're at an area where if either buyers take control and show what they're made of, and then we get the breakout, or sellers are just going to take control again, you're going to roll over, right? So buyers need to step up here. The supply here needs to be absorbed. So another one, Wojak. Now this one's an old one, right? Old in the terms of, this one's been around. If you guys remember, I was trading this back in 2023, right? Wojak. I've not looked at this in a while. I was looking at this the other day and I noticed something very, very beautiful. So you take from all the way to the exchange listing low on Gate up to high. So this is the April 2023, okay? A year, more than a year ago. April 2023 low to the high to the B. What you have? You have a perfect 618, okay? And from Harmonic guys, you know what that means. You have already in the runs for a good godly, right? Go up, so your C point is also within the ratio allowed, and you come back down, and look what you did here. You've got a perfect 786. By all means, this is one of the most beautiful godlies I've actually seen in recent times, okay? And all where? Look at the trend. Uptrend, 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 uptrend. So you've got the godly 786 being hit, right? The reason I've not called any of these in my channel yet is because I'm only going to be calling when I believe is right for you to really, really go super risk on. Okay. I've already told you in my previous streams that I am building bags, but I'm going to size up super heavy if we get a type 2 on this. Okay, you get a type 2 on this, you've got confirmation. Okay, we've got a 786. This looks 10 times better, right? Even though people might be like, oh, that why would you want a rejection? Because that rejection will be confirmation of the 786. And that confirmation tells you so much about this trend. Okay. Yes, buyers have been active here, right, on the weekly. That's great. But in terms of harmonic framework, that's the type 1 reaction. If you then reject off your T1 zone, right, you're looking for the higher low, right? If you get the higher low or a double bottom, whatever, around the 786, that is your type 2 retest, right? And after that type 2 retest, this would look 10 times better. And I would size up super heavy here on something like Wojak if you got it, right? But by all means, this, in terms of harmonic framework, this looks amazing. Right? You have a 786. You have a never not perfect godly to trade around. So what you're seeing is currently you're seeing a reaction of that, right? You're seeing a reaction of that godly. You can see you came down, you hit the 786, and you got some chop around that level, but hardly any. And then you've just had a reaction, right? So even if you see something like this now around the daily, even if you don't get that 618, you just come down and you start to chop around this area. As long as the 786 is not lost, you don't close below it. You just enter, right? Again, if you wanted to enter this ladder in, it's up to you. But I would not allocate much at the end of the day. This is a meme, right? This is not a serious project. This is not where you go post of the walls on. But if you wanted something because of the area it's at, this is something you could consider laddering into, right? Again, not all in because look where you are. This is not where you go all in because now if you're taking the 618786 as a range, you're literally in between that. You do not size up in the middle of a range for no reason, right? So if you're patient, maybe you get this. There's no guarantees of a type 2, of course, which is why I'm saying if you want to ladder in, you can do so. But definitely don't go all in and do not ladder in heavy, right? You want to account for time and price, right? You could take ages to get back to the 786. So you want to just ladder in a way that makes sense. Have an initial position you're happy with, and then have loads of capital left over for when if you get deeper levels or if you get a trend change. If you go and flip the 618 into support, which is basically the B there, right? This is again where you can size up. Sizing up is just as important as sizing down, right? You can DCA down, but you can also DCA up. There's nothing wrong with DCAing up, and most people don't DCA up because it ruins their quote unquote perfect entry, right? But would you rather flash your P&L card or would you actually make money, right? Because if you see a flip of 618, you have all the reasons in the world to size up. Okay. You should definitely size up if you see something like this, because then you're going to catch the next leg of the move. Who cares if your P&L card doesn't look as nice, right? It's your position size that matters. So, you can size down, you can size up on the way down, you can size up on the way up, right? Both is equally as valid. So you choose a method that makes sense to you, where you can control your emotions and not be shaken out and, not blindly close at a loss for no reason, so on and so forth, right? It's all about managing your trade, your emotions, your psychology at the end of the day. But this looks absolutely amazing, okay? Wojak, in terms of a harmonic framework, looks so damn clean. That is a really, really nice quality on Wojak. Next, we have, actually, I'll keep checking back to the chat here. Uh, yeah. Next, we have Shlib. Shlib also has a completed Gartley, but currently you're below it, right? So you have your 786, 636. So this is within the allowed deviation range for the B point. You have your 786 right over here. C point's a bit shallow, not exact 382, but hey, it's what it is, right? This is a meme. I don't really care. I'm looking at the overall shape. If you take that, the 786 is right there. So if you now get a flip of this 786 back into support, that is where you would enter shit. Until that happens, don't enter this. Okay. So you I know how quickly sentiment can change, right? So you might have seen the pump yesterday, be like, oh damn, I missed the entries. You haven't missed anything. Okay, zoom out, get your microscopes out, zoom out. You really think that move yesterday was, oh, massive, you missed out? No, most of these alts haven't moved, right? You're gonna get amazing entries on many of these alts. That's where most of your money is going to be made as well. For most of you that haven't sized up on something like Bitcoin, right? All seasons where your money is going to be made, and all season isn't here yet, right? It's not here yet. So you're gonna have to manage your risk at key areas. Just understand you've not missed out on hardly anything, right? Don't let lower time frame sentiment just chop you left and right. Does Garley flip down to support? You have a reason to be long on ship. Until that flips into support, there's no reason for owning ship here, in my opinion, right? Because you at least you'll be able to manage your risks should that be flipped. So that's ship. Next, I'm looking at Pepe, right? Pepe has a load of potential harmonics. First things first, we have this. This is again a Gartley. This is a very contextualized Gartley again, so I'm not going to the exact candle body closes or wicks, right? But I'm just more seeing, okay, look, what happened? We got the 618, right? You got the 618, and then even though you went deeper, where did you end up closing, right? You ended up closing above the 618 on the higher time frame. For all intents and purposes, this is just a liquidity rate. I'm not going to count it, right? So if you think about it in those terms, then what do we have? We have, again, 618, 505, 786, right? You do have a Gartley Pepe. What you've done, you've actually had a type 2 of the Gartley. If you're actually taking this as the Gartley, you've had a type 2, right? And the type 2 has been successful for now. So this is something that looks exactly like what were we talking about? We were talking about Mew, I think, right? Or one of the others we were talking about where we had the type 2. You've broken out and you've had, again, a type 2. You've got confirmation that this area now um, is support, right? So this reaction here was valid. That's what you've said. So now, again, if you wanted to own Pepe, right, you can ladder in this area, or you enter some here, and if you flip the Carly 618 into support, you size up there, right? You've got plenty of, you can size up on the way up, or you can size up on the way down, right? Just based around price action. That's the most important thing. If you see buyers taking strength, having an edge at a key area, that is what you're actually triggering your price, you're sizing up on, right? You're going to size up for no reason. You're going to size up when you get to a key area, what is happening. If you get to a key area and you see sellers are showing strength over buyers, you're not going to size up. You're going to wait for buyers to take control, right? Before you size up. And that's what you're going to do. Should you get to this Garlic 618 and should you flip it, then when you get the confirmed SR flip, that is where you size up, right? Because now buyers are showing strength, buyers are showing their willingness to take control at this 618. You have an argument now for further upside. Until that happens, you don't have an argument for upside when you do get to the 618, right? So you're not going to size up blindly as soon as you hit the 618. That's what I'm trying to say. You're going to size up after the flip. Similarly, on the way down, right? Wait until you drop your time frame a bit on the daily, go on something like the 1 hour, 4 hours to get your lower time frame levels, if you're looking for DCA levels, or very simply, just go to something like the higher time frame. On the weekly, for example, we know that this is an area where buyers were active. If you do get a dip back into that area, that is where you be doing your laddering in. Right? So Pepe, another one that definitely looks good. Don't fade the trend, right? Trend is your friend. Look, uptrend, very, very clear uptrend. And should you lose this 786, right, you have one demand zone to contend with here. And if you lose that, then you have another harmonic, which could play out. I'm not going to say it won't, but obviously this is going to be the argument for this is going to be way stronger once you actually get below the this particular area here, right? But you do have a macro M shape, right? You have a macro 886 here as well. Now, do you get Pepe this low again? I don't know. That's something for you to decide, right? We don't know what the market conditions will be like for sure, right, in the future. But should you get this, I'm just pointing out this is a very real target for you. Should you then see further downside for Pepe, right? So that is an area for you to watch for this bat. But for now, I'd be basing it around the Gartley, right? Because that's what's actually in play right now. There's no point looking at this when this is the harmonic that's currently in play. So for everything you do, I'll do it based around this Gartley for now. And Pepe is another one that looks good. So when you have two more, um, this one is one that Nexus put on my radar, right? This one did absolute numbers. If you look at what this pulled off from the general low to the high, this one got like 68,000% move on leverage, right? I think if you pin the actual low to the high, this was like 98,000% in spot. Nexus was talking about this one before it ran as well. So this was a very, very missed opportunity for me. Um, so go over here. Yeah, that's 69,000%, right? Like absolutely ridiculous. So what we've had is after that huge move was put in, we do have a huge sell-off. And again, we have put in a bat, right? 0.886. There's your bat level here. I'd only be interested in this asset above this area, right? Below this, I don't care about this, honestly. But once you go and flip this into support, at least you have a framework to work around, right? You know there's an external target at B, you know there's an external target at C, and A for your long-term target. So you can work around that, right? You can have that as your higher time frame targets to now aim for any positioning. Until again, that's if you reclaim the 886. If you don't reclaim the 886, no entry to be had here, in my opinion, right? I'd wait. Because realistically, it doesn't matter if you buy this shit here or just above the 886. If you're targeting the B, the C, the A, you're going to be happy either way, right? One's just a way better entry, technically speaking, than the other. So get above the 886 and confirm the support, you have an entry for this. Otherwise, you don't. Last but not least, Grok. You do have an 886 on Grok, right? You have a bat, you can see that. M shape. The 886 is, I've not marked it down, but it's somewhere around this area here. And again, you're below the 886. Flip this to support to have an argument for entries for upside. But until you flip it to support, I wouldn't enter, just personally, right? So that's a few memes that I think, in terms of a framework, in terms of you managing a risk, in terms of having confluence, in terms of being able to strategize your entries and your stop loss, right? Those are a few memes that look good, right? Of course, there's loads of memes out there. There's a few I've not covered in this, right? That might have amazing framework, and if you see any, send them to me, right? For sure, I'll add it to the list, right? And I'm by this, and I'm also not saying that I'm going to be entering all of these, right? All I'm doing here is I've taken the time and the effort to filter through all the different, all the thousands of different coins that there are. Look for ones that you can actually make an action on so that you, as an investor, have the decision in your hands, right? Okay, you want to go into BRC20, there's a coin for that. You want to look at Solana memes, there's a coin for that. You want to look for Pepe, there's a coin for that, right? You want to you want something because you think Elon might pop it, there's a coin for that, right? So for that reason, that is the reason I've gone through and compiled all of these, right? These are all the coins we're going to go over today that have harmonics completed, right? Does not mean I'm going to be entering all of them, nor should you. Choose a few that you like, choose a few that you vibe with, you think will do well, right? And then enter based on that, right? I'm not here to tell you which coin to buy. I'm simply here to tell you these projects look like, if one wanted to enter, you can do so without much risk to yourself, right? That's the most important thing with trading. People focus on, oh, how much can I make? it- you know, that's the reason people enter. Like, oh, imagine the money I can make should this profit target hit. Hardly anyone enters because they're thinking, oh, how much will I lose if I'm wrong? And in my humble opinion, that is what you should be focusing on. Right? Don't focus on how much can you make. Focus on if you enter here and you're wrong, how much are you going to lose? That's the important thing. How much of your capital are you risking? Should you be wrong? Not how much can you make, right? If your risk is good, money's going to come, right? That's how you stay consistent long term. So that is why I've got these frameworks here. So let's begin. First and foremost, I'll run over some of the top ones because they were covered last stream. But AVAX, I've already mentioned AVAX, right? This one looks amazing in terms of a harmonic framework. If we take a look at where we are, Macrobat, right? All the way back from 2020, which completed in 2022, a 2-year M-shaped formation, very significant. all ratios adhered to, right? 886, you hit the 886, you chop around the 886 during the bear for 2 years, or not 2 years, but a year. And then you broke out this year or last year, right? You broke out towards the end of last year. And then what you've done this year is very, very beautiful and actually so significant because that 886, which is what we know is the ultimate target for a bat, look what you've done, right? You've gone and you've reconfirmed that as support, right? You've had an SFP, you've reconfirmed the support, and then you've had this reaction of it, right? So this 86, you validated that harmonic level that took 2 years to make, and then you chopped below for a bit. You've gone and validated that back into support, right? So this is very, very significant because from here, well, you're saying if you've validated this as a PRZ, right? You validated this 886, then what are you saying? Well, your targets, your T1 zone has already been hit, but your next target, right? If you're still above this, is well the T2, right? You have not touched your B. That would be your first extreme target. Go B. If you then flip the old T1, you flip B, you're saying T2's next. After T2, you have your A to C, right? That's your final bat target. And the beautiful thing is, you size up here, right? You're going to get loads of opportunities to size up on the way up. And if you honestly believe that, these targets can be hit, which, it looks crazy now, but understand that we haven't had full blown euphoria yet, right? Especially if anyone here is new, right? In terms of, the cycle, you think what we got last year was euphoria. It really isn't, right? Not compared to what's going to happen if Bitcoin actually hits price discovery like it did in 2020. Like, we haven't had that scenario yet. When things like that happen and we have massive money inflow, right? Then we're talking about these targets. We simply don't have the capital. I'm not just talking about as people. We simply don't have the capital in the space to run these high targets yet, right? But once you go full blown euphoria, you have all these money flowing into the crypto space. That is when you'll have the liquidity to go and take these higher targets out. And that is what you're preparing for. If you enter AVAX at areas like this, right? You're preparing for those inevitable big moves should the lows be held as support. Because if the buyers keep regarding this as support, that means the supply down here is running out. If there's no supply, you're going to go to where there is supply, right? And in terms of the framework, the supply is here. The supply is here. The supply is here, right? So AVAX looks absolutely amazing, right? And what you're saying is, look, if you wanted to enter this now, you can enter spot. And for spot, you're laddering into this zone. Yeah, right? That is the zone you're laddering into. Don't go all in. Laddering into this zone. Look, you're still below your massive supply line, right? You're laddering into this zone. If you get a close below that 886, cut this thing, right? Cut it. Just cut it if you close below the 886. And if you have a reclaim in the future, you have the same argument we have right now again, right? But you don't want to be owning this under the 886 because the argument for the harmonic isn't as strong anymore, right? But for now, this is very, very pivotal. This is not something you just ignore, right? That is a very, very good reaction of what was an 886. So the first one, AVAX, looks amazing, right? I'm gonna, as I go through more and more of them, I'm gonna just speed up a bit so that I'm not explaining the same terminology over and over, right? AVAX first, say another one, absolutely amazing. And this is something you can still enter, right? And all of these coins, hopefully you see what I mean when I say you're not late to anything, right? You think you're late to AVAX at $24. Who cares if you bought at 17 to 24 when your final target for this is like 137 to 150? Are you really going to care whether you entered at 17 or 24 when this is the bulk of the move that's actually going to make you the money? No, right? So don't enter greedily here to lose your capital at low time frame chop when you can spread it out, enter when you see strength, enter when you see a reason to do so, ladder in, right? Make your liquidity last, make it stretch. Because this is the targets, right? These are the targets. So say another one, right? You have the macro 886, you have a shark that has hit, it has validated, you have this you have a low, you have a rate of the low, and a confirmation of the lower support again. Very typical price action, right? Before reversals. So now what you're saying is like, look, if you can get a clean flip of this zero point 0.5 and the other zero point 0.5 into support, all I've done is gone on the higher time frame, like the six, not the six, sorry, the four. All I've done is mark out those higher time frame resistances, right? This is a seller zone area where sellers were in control. So I've just marked those out, right? So you want to flip the low of mid of that into support now, because that is what's being used as resistance. If you flip that into support, you get that, breakout retest, and you don't have to look for weekly retests. If you're impatient, you can look for daily breakout retest with 4-hour confirmations, right? It's completely up to you what time frame you regard this on. right? That's going to depend person to person. But all I'm saying is this is the area you need to flip into support. You get above this, right? 0.3061 at the extreme end. If you get above the 0.03, so you have an argument now to at least aim for 48 cents on a local scale, right? Your type 1 is going to be here. Maybe you get a type 2 retest. And if all of these alts actually end up giving you these type 2 retests, all of them are going to look even better. Okay. So, but that's something we're going to see whether we get or not in the future. But for now, um, this is your type what this is your terminal one zone, this is your B, this is your terminal two zone, this is your final target. Right. Say another one that looks amazing. You can see why this is one of my biggest facts, right? Say it looks absolutely amazing in terms of a framework. So good. Really, really clean. So say is another one with this one. We mentioned again last stream looks so good. Why? Because firstly, look, massive falling wedge, right? What did the falling wedge do? So let me do this step by step. What did the falling wedge do? Key levels, yeah. So turn the falling wedge off. Firstly, if we go back to the 4 months, this is the area where buyers were in control the last 4 months, right? You've taken price back above that area, and so far on the weekly, you've had a successful retest, right, of the 1.518, which is what we were talking about last stream as well. You want to have a successful retest of this because if you do, what you've confirmed is on the weekly, you've confirmed that you are back above. For sure, with confirmation, you're back above the candle body close of the previous 4 months, right? So then you have an argument for, okay, well, if buyers are showing strength here, we have a reason to why we could run higher the remainder of the last 4 months, right? This last part of the triennial, we have a reason to aim for upside, right? So, weekly closes in uh soon in like 1 day, 11 hours, right? If this weekly closes, especially if we close over 161, that's even better. Because if I now remember where I got that from, let me go to the 6 months. No, 3 months. Where did I get that from? 2 months, perhaps, or the monthly? 2 weeks. Yeah. So this right here, this is your another buyer slash seller zone that you've got from another time frame, right? So you look here on the weekly. This is an area where buyers were in control in the weekly, right? So buyers opened the price here, right? They were in control all the way up, but this is the area where sellers tried to take control from the buyers, but buyers rejected them, right? Before driving price higher, which is why now this becomes a significant area. So, which is why I marked it out, right? Into a range. And what you did was this pullback, you went and you regarded the low of that as support. You've regarded the mid back as support, and now all you have to do is you have to get above the one. If you do that, you're saying that important area from history, you've got back above it. Plus, you've also got back above the last 4 month close, right? Meaning you're targeting now fresh highs again. So perhaps the previous 4 month close, but actually that's the monthly. Let me go on the 4 months. On the last 4 months, right? This is your seller zone here. So you're going back into this range basically is what you're saying, right? If you can get above 1.611, you're going back into this range here. This is the range you're going to be trading back to. So you'd be targeting $2.49 at the minimum. Let me color that yellow because I got this on the 4. This on the 6. No, 6 months is even deeper. So let me mark the 6 out as well. There we go. And the 6 months I'm going to color red. So these two are just going to act as resistances, right? They're going to act as resistances until you flip them to support. After that, you're going to treat them as support. You're just going to treat them as support resistances, basically, these levels up here. If you get above 161, $2.90. If you get above that, 2.49. Right? And again, this is macro levels. After that, $3 range. After that, you're aiming for your $4 range, $4.88. But you have these key areas, right? You have these key areas on WIF. And on top of that, now we also have, as we've already looked at, is you have a potential bat if you decide to go deeper, right? But forget about that for now. What you actually have is, oh, where did it go? Is it this one? No. So group one. There we go. You have a godly, right? Look, X, A, B, C, D. Basically a 618 on the retracement within the allowed deviation range. Same here. 786 on the drop. And then this is within the ratios as well. So you have a very, very valid godly on width. And again, if you come back down here to reconfirm a type 2, even better, right? But if not, that is the zone you'd be willing to ladder in, right? If you open some positions over here, perhaps a small entry at the 0.50. If you get a double bottom, another entry at the zero. And if you get below that, that is where you close, right? That way, you're really, really mitigating the risk to yourself. And you can do this multiple ways, guys, right? If you're entering spots, you don't have to enter fully. You can say you're going to ladder in with 50%, right? So you have a entry here, and then even out of your total allocation for width, you can only use 50. Let's say I'm only going to use 50% for should we drop. Because that way, if then this ends up being invalidated, right? At least you're not um at least your stop loss, the amount you lose on your stop loss isn't going to be in accordance to your 100% position size. It's only going to be in accordance to 50%, right? And if you then see signs of strength again and you see trend shift back up, that is when you deploy the last 50%, right? If you're really, really patient, you can do risk management strategies like this. And it might sound like you're being cautious, but if you just think back to how the market's been, if you actually use strategies like that up until now, you would many people would not have been liquidated, right? Because you'd have accounted for the chop and you'd have a portion left over for when trend actually changed, right? Because the trend again, at locally speaking, look, lower high. Hang on, let me get this lower high here, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? For this is another lower high that could put in a lower low. So there's no point allocating yourself 100%, right? Or should you get that trend change now, you get something like this. You hit T1 and you get a higher low. You have a reason to now allocate your entire position size here, right? So you add your remaining 50% here, size up your average. Let's say you entered here, some here, enter here, enter some here, enter some here. Or even if you enter some here and then you get the breakout retest, this is where you'd size up. Your average is still going to be somewhere around this, and you're still catching the bulk of the move. But you're doing it in a manner where if you were wrong, you still had liquidity left, right? You're not hurting yourself. You're not shooting yourself in the foot. You're not tying yourself down, right? So these are just strategies to consider for when you enter. Um, and this width looks amazing. Okay, in terms of again, Gartley width looks good. Of course, falling wedge breakout would make this look even better. But for now, lower targets have been taken. 5-day fair value gap mid's been taken. The support has been regarded as support once again. You have a possible, you have a possible dragon, right? You have a possible dragon, which is basically completed, to be honest. So let's get rid of that for now. But reasons are there now, right? Reasons are there. The stage is set, right? For buyers to take control, drive this up, and perhaps put in a higher low before going higher. That'd be absolutely amazing. Okay. So that is the kind of price action you want to watch for. So this is with. And this should be on the memes, but I put it here because I'd say this is more significant as a meme than the others, right? So you take this project more seriously than the others. We've looked at sats. You had a completed 886, right? A completed bat. You got a reaction of it, put a higher low in, went up, put in a higher low again. And you had the retest actually of that level we were looking at last stream, right? So you've had a retest of that now. Okay, right? There was your retest successful close above. So your entry would have been based around that retest, right? Like I was saying, wait for the retest candle to close, right? And once the retest candle closes and the confirmation opens above resistance, you open your position, put your stop loss below the retest wick low, and then aim for your next target, right? So the entry was actually there if someone wanted to have entered based on what I described last stream. But even if not, first spot, you have plenty of you get plenty of opportunities to add on this, right? But you can see Sats is trying to change trend, and I'd argue it's done so, right? So your last lower high following a lower low has been taken out by this, which has put a higher low in. So you have a low here, a high, a higher low, higher high, another potential higher low here. So let's see how this plays out, right? But again, if you want a BRC20 project, SATS looks really, really good. You've hit the 886 and you've had a really nice reaction of it so far. Are you building positive price action here? Rats. Now this one doesn't look as good as SATS, and I know the names obviously. Hopefully the names tell you how seriously you should take these projects, right? Um, these are very much meme plays, so you won't be putting a lot into this. But Rats has an amazing A, B equals C, D. Right over here, you have the framework completed. Weekly demand zone was hit, so you've hit key liquidity, you've held the key liquidity. You're now back above your last 4-month close, right? You back above the 4-month close. You're back above the weekly demand zone, right? So if you wanted to enter some rats, you could do this in a multiple ways. Firstly, you could do this as if you lose this wick, you're going to cut because you'll be back below the demand zone. Right? That's one way. Second way you could do this is you could do it as again, laddering in strategy if you wanted this more long term. Right. So whether you go in with a tighter stop loss, as in just look for the recent wick of a retest, or you go in with the laddering in, to account for higher time frame chop is going to depend entirely on, are you entering this for the long term or as a trade? If you're entering this as a trade, your tighter stop loss makes sense. If you're entering this as a more long-term hold, then laddering in makes sense, right? So you'd enter depending on your strategy, how long you'd want to hold this for. But the key areas, they're all on the screen here, right? If you lose this, you're going back down towards that dotted white line there. If you lose that, then back towards these yellow and blues, right? Very, very simple. Those are the areas you want to be watching for price action reactions at, right? See how price reacts there. See what you get in terms of buyers versus sellers. After us, we have Doge. Doge looks really, really good, right? Again, why? You have two completed Gartleys on Doge, right? Even if you take it from this low all the way back in 2022 to this completed M shape, or you take it from this X, more recent low down to here. In both instances, what you did, you hit a demand zone, right? You hit a monthly demand zone, monthly order block, whatever you want to call it. It's a liquidity pocket. You hit a higher time frame liquidity pocket, and you've reacted very strongly off it, right? So your T1 has been good so far. So again, for Doge now, right? If you manage to get a retest of the one, 0.1 10126, if you manage to get a retest of that, right, with a successful with a successful with a successful retest. So here, if you take a look again, and to be honest, I'd argue you actually already had a retest on the daily right over here. Right? You had a retest there on the daily, perhaps like a weekly retest, one more tap down to this area. If you manage to get that, I would not be then just sitting on my hands being like, I'm going to wait for lower on Doge. You would have literally no more reasons to be waiting for downside, especially if you got a successful weekly retest of this area too. So the daily retest has occurred. And there's no confirmation here now. There's no guarantee you'll get a weekly retest. On the weekly, what you'd be looking for is basically, do we hold this area here? There we go. If you can hold this area, right? If you get a pullback into this area and you can hold it to create some sort of higher low here, then I just literally manage your risk around the reaction that happens there, right? Because this is now a weekly seller zone. Previous week, this is where sellers were active, right? You can see sellers took price control down, buyers took price control all the way back up here, closing the green, but they couldn't close within this area, right? Meaning sellers took control here. So this becomes a key area for you to hold, right? SR flip basically to go higher. And again, in terms of a actual retest, have we had one so far? We actually might have had it here. Yeah, no, you've had a retest of that area too. So on the weekly, right, these are the areas, if you get a pullback on the weekly, these are the areas you want to hold, right? If you don't hold this, then perhaps you go a bit deeper again, 0.5, right? Something like that. But I'd trigger my buys now, right? Around, do you get a retest of these areas on the weekly again, right? If not, um, if you flip this area here, right, you see this wick, you get above and flip that. That is where I would enter on Doge. That is if you're not already positioned, right? But Doge looks amazing, right? Doge looks really, really good. And again, look, low, high, higher low, higher high. This would be an amazing high low again, right? For Doge. So Doge, another one that looks amazing in terms of completed harmonic framework. We have LDO, right? We looked at LDO last stream. Um, you could go a bit deeper for 886, who knows? But at the end of the day, you're at a 2 week demand zone. There's something we've had drawn on since this got put in 2022, right? Because you have it impulse down, consolidation, impulse back up. This is the textbook definition of a demand zone. This is a liquidity pocket. So you've held that for now, you've held it. If you flip the mid of the said area into support, you have your entry, right? If you're not already in, if you flip the mid into support, you have an entry. If you flip the top into support, size up, right? Because you're saying you're back above this demand zone, you'd be running it according to the harmonic framework for your T1. Your type 1 would be, let me do this instead. Your type 1 would be between the 3-4 and the 4-1-4. So basically, this area here was the rectangle tool. Yeah, that'd be your type 1. So that'd be where this zone is where you look for basically for your first reaction, right? You take some profits there. You get entered here, take some profits there. And you can obviously LDO is something you can take on leverage, it's something you can take on spot, right? Whichever way you enter, is going to if you enter leverage, of course, you're going to take profits more aggressively than if you enter on spot. But for sure, this, flip, let's say average somewhere over here, you're going to get a nice 80% move. Even on spot, that's amazing, right? So LDO, another one that looks good. OP, we already looked at this, right? OP, same as LDO, looks amazing. Right here, we have sharks, right? We have a shark or a bat, depending on how you take it. Let me split this into two. Firstly, the one I personally put down was this shark, X, A, B, C, D, right? The C point's obviously a rate of the A before you went lower. 86 has been hit, and you've regarded it as support again. And you also have a bat, right? X, A, B, C, D. The 886 of those two is the zone where you'd be watching for a price reaction. And that zone was right over here, right? You've got closes within, breakout, successful retest of the area, and another push up, right? So what you're saying is, look, if you get any more pulls back to this area and buyers still defend, obviously you're going to enter, right? You can see locally speaking, OP is now putting in higher highs and higher lows, right? This looks so almost double toppy, but as long as you put another higher low in, that structure still maintained, right? So even if you get a pullback towards, let's say, you get a pullback towards 1.418, if it's successful closes above, it's a bid, right? It's a bid because you're now above your 886's PRZs, right? So any signs of strength, you're just going to bid them, right, at key areas. Or if you flip the zero back into support, that is where you start entering if you're not positioned already, right? Because that is your seller zone, right? If you go on to where did I get? Yeah, 6 months. This is sorry, this is not a seller zone. This was your previous buyer zone, right? 0.51, where buyers were active, and then you lost it. So reclaiming these areas into support would indicate that you're trying to undo what was done by this dump, right? So that would be very, very bullish. So that would be your entry. If you're not already positioned, you either wait for if you see if you get any sort of pullbacks towards these areas again, or you wait for a flip of that zero into support, and then you enter based on that, right? But OP again, another one, ETH beta, this one looks good, right? Optimism. Again, you can't deny the trend, higher highs, right? Higher highs, sorry, higher lows and higher highs, right? This is a very healthy chart, right? OP, we've got TIA, right? We looked at TIA. Deep harmonic pattern here. This is a short 858. It's not an exact 886. So one more drive deeper, I would not be opposed to, but I don't know if you're going to get it. I don't know if you're going to get it. And if you close above the previous 4-month buy zone, then you're saying, which you've already done for now on the weekly anyway. We'll see if you actually close the week like that or not. What you're saying is you're good for higher, right? So you look at that. The weekly, on the daily, you actually flip the zero point 0.5 of this into support. What was once an area where buyers were in charge, you flip the mid of that into support, indicating buyers are still in control here, right? So there was your retests. So this looks good, right? So if you get any sort of pullback now towards actually, no, I wouldn't even think that deep. I think if you get any pullback towards 4.48, right, on the lower time frame, and you see 4.48 being regarded as support on the lower time frame, that is where I'd enter. Otherwise, once you flip this one, that is your next entry if you're not already positioned.
Yo, Weatherman.
Yo, what's up, bro?
Yeah, I think we have time to chill a little bit, bro, because we don't have that much people anyways in the weekend. Because I wanted to give you also some like one setup or two setup that look really good from the
Yeah.
previous week. I think it was a coin that we looked at. Let's see. Where is it? Yeah, do you remember GMX, that
Y-
DEX on
Yes, sir.
Arbitrum?
GMX.
I
That was
think,
another one I was going to
yeah,
go
I
over
think.
in a minute. That looks
Oh, okay,
amazing.
okay.
Yeah, it looks so good for
Yeah, yeah.
GMX. Yeah,
By the
hang
way,
on.
it's only me and 2% here, but of course people are gonna watch the stream back. So
Yeah, yeah, of
yo,
course. It's a Saturday,
2%
bro,
feel
you
free
know.
to talk. It's Saturday, bro. Everybody's going into the
Yeah.
city, man. But it's
Yeah,
all
for
good.
sure. But yeah, GMX definitely looks good, bro. Yeah, I've got it right here. GMX, so
Yeah,
you
GMX
completed
here
a
is pretty
perfect
good.
886. This is
Mhm.
a shark. Actual perfect
Oh wow,
shark.
beautiful. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It got completed. Yeah, nice.
So yeah, GMX looks amazing. I still have some spots on this for Arbitrum because I do think Arb is a bit undervalued. But
Yeah, there was GMX. There was also a coin called Miria. I did a 10x on this back in 2023. I think this came all the way back down to not entry. It's making a higher low here. Many people have this on their watch list. It's like one of those gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one came all the way back. Oh wow, it completed your harmonic as well. That's amazing.
Yeah, but
That's amazing.
1.16 right over here. The ratio is a tiny bit off,
Wow,
but yeah,
very
risk-wise,
good.
the most important thing. That low from the
Very deep.
exchange listing got regarded as support again, and he held it.
Uh huh.
So yeah,
Very
amazing
deep,
place
man.
to manage risk on this.
To be honest, man, I can look at minutes. They all look the same, man. Like
Yeah, yeah,
size locally double topping for now. At least on my midline at like 30 cents. That's why I want to flip it. Flip 31 cents.
yeah,
But yeah, I think alts are ready, man, to have their move up. I think the most important shot right now is to look at ETH against Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance.
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
those two charts are gonna tell us when, these
Yeah,
setups are gonna play out, man.
yeah,
Because they
for
will
sure,
play
bro.
out, but we're gonna have to wait
Exactly,
till
right? It's just a
this
matter
change.
of not losing all your liquidity stupidly. Just be patient, and at these lows, it's like, you're literally buying where obviously no one else wants to buy, and who's
Yeah, I
left to
think the
sell,
second I think the second half of the cycle is gonna wipe all people's losses from the past, right? From
Yeah,
that altcoin dump that we had, that kind of unexpected one, and it's gonna, give people their profits back, or recoup their losses. But I still think people will get wrecked because of greed, right? Like even if they get their losses back, they will still aim for higher, right? So I think
exactly.
the first
Yeah,
thing is
yeah,
to first recoup those losses. Because I think like going into like Q4 2025 rate cut, etc. I think this is gonna be time for altcoins the upcoming months, because it was a Bitcoin only season for the last year so far,
yeah,
and I think all the setups you provided, I mean, you like I don't want to say numbers, but the huge potential, even in a freaking coin like Link, right? Like a coin like
yeah,
Link, which is very slow and annoying. Even that one, I'm expecting some nice gains, man,
yeah,
for
for sure,
sure.
bro. Yeah, for sure. It's just having the vision. Like, I think the people who are just zoomed in on the lower time frame, they're the ones that's going to get absolutely destroyed here if they're not
Oh
positioned for the
yeah,
higher
yeah, they
time
went
frame.
short, right? Yeah, no, yeah, I never understood why people went short, anyways, man. Because we made because I just did a weekend update for everyone, and man, the as soon as we regained 57.5, remember we talked about this on your stream.
Yeah,
You had a
yeah,
you had a little bit higher level than me, around 58. For me, it was 57.5. Now you're above the daily 200, right? So as long as you stay above the daily 200, man, I don't see any problems. But there is an argument for going short, because I mean this is a lower high if you zoom out on the grand scheme of things,
yeah.
right?
On the
This is
grand
just a
scheme of
lower
things,
high,
yeah,
but also you have an argument for higher low. So it's it's just difficult, man, and that's why it can be slow price action, because there's
yeah, for
arguments
sure,
for
bro.
both. But yeah, I mean it's a little bit risky to short now, man. I mean short at
Yeah,
65 would be perfect, but right now, damn, okay, well you can try, but I don't know. This weekly candle looks insane.
yeah. This looks really good, bro. You're wiping out what the last week did. You've had your median drawdown for September, and on median, on average, the Bitcoin returns is like -7%, -6 point something percent on September for Bitcoin. That you had it at 7 point
Just
something percent move down already, so you've already hit
Yeah,
that.
there's one small detail where I want to get above is the weekly 10 and 21. If you put that on, you see what I mean. It's literally that wick touched those two EMAs and got shorted right away.
Yeah, yeah,
You see
right here.
that?
Yeah,
So man, if we can recoup that into tomorrow, right? Or I would be very bullish, right? Because if you can reclaim those two EMAs, the weekly 10, weekly 20, you're back in action, man.
yeah, for
Literally,
sure,
you're back
bro.
in
Like, you
action.
confirm
And
deviation, and then you're like, yeah, we're ready to go higher
yeah,
again.
exactly, man. Yeah, but I understand the short there at the weekly 10, but so far weak, man. I mean, it's not the greatest move down. Plus, it's the weekend, so this is actually if you're a bear, you want to see the opposite. You want to see Bitcoin higher into the weekend, right, and then
Yeah,
go down during Monday. You don't want to see the opposite. So I
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think I don't think this is the best sign for
Yeah, we'll see. Local trends still bearish, but you've got now M shapes developing, W shapes developing, which could take you higher. Realistically speaking, like I was saying this earlier, but the most bullish thing you could do is take all of that out and then put in a higher low. Hopefully we get something like that in the future.
Hmm. Well, excited,
Um,
man, for the next couple months, man. It's
yeah,
gonna be
for sure,
awesome.
bro.
And all
For
the
sure.
setups you provided. I mean, we provided
Um,
so many setups. I think, yeah,
yeah, we've got
Tia, man,
so many
Tia,
to get
man.
through as well. Tia, yeah,
Bro,
exactly, bro.
last
Like
time we
all
looked at
of
Tia was
these.
395, man. So already went up a little bit since the last
Yeah,
time.
yeah, 2454 exactly from Monday's stream. Gone up.
Hmm.
So yeah, Tia, we've already covered, guys. ENS we have covered. I'll go over it again once more. What I was saying is you get into ENS if you flip this now, right? This has happened. If you missed this entry from last stream, this is your next entry. Flip this, you can get into ENS. Okay, 17 to $18 basically. 17.7 to 18.05. You flip that to supports. You honestly you can go. You don't have much. You have little resistance here, and then your main resistance is at $25. Right after 25 up to 34. So ENS, again, completed M shape. This is a Gartley right here. A lot of Gartleys printing across the board, you can see. So that's ENS. GFI, now, Red, I mentioned this last stream. This looks amazing. Look at this Gartley here. Um,
Yeah, this has a great FA2 on it, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to mention another one that I forgot even to say the last couple weeks. Metis, man. Like I
Metis,
still
yeah,
own a
bro.
little bit of Metis.
I
The
think
one that we catched
Metis.
from the lows, that one looks bottomed, man. Not gonna lie, it made a double bottom on a daily for now, and I don't. If Bitcoin keeps running, I expect it actually to run, man. For the second rally, which I think
Yeah.
is gonna go personally higher, man. Metis is absolutely goated, man. Goated.
I think I did have Metis here. Metis. USDT. 300 completed. Yeah, yeah, I do have Metis here. We're going to go over that in a minute. It's got a really, really
Oh
nice
yeah,
M shape
it's
completed. Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, and double bottom on a daily. Yeah, I think this one
Yeah.
looks ready. Buyers are defending that $28 zone like a champ because that's
Yeah.
for
Yeah, for
support.
sure,
So
bro.
yeah,
Yeah, this looks
curious.
good.
What do you think?
Um, okay, so ENS, okay, GFI. Um, like I said, Red mentioned this one for us on Monday. And structure-wise, this looks amazing here. Okay, 786. This is a perfect godly here at the bottom. You've had a really nice reaction off it, right? This is something you go spot on, guys. Okay, don't try to find some dodgy exchange to leverage trade this. Just buy some spot, ladder in this zone, right? Or if you go and flip the B into support, for example, right? Go and ladder into that. You can go and look for seller zones on something like the 6 months, right? The 4 months, for example. Let me turn the harmonic off once. Let's give you some levels to flip. Okay, what we have here is this is the previous 4 month close. Why don't we do this? And then we're going to go with range. This is the previous 4 month areas where buyers took control, right? And you can see we have actually reclaimed the previous 4 month close, which is always bullish, right? That's always bullish. Higher time frame reclaim of previous month, previous time frame candle, always, always bullish. So we've reclaimed the 2.24 for now. As long as you're above that, what you're saying is you have an argument. I have to go to the higher time frame. You have an argument for this, right? This is the zone you're going to go back into if you're above the previous 4 month close. And we're going to lock that. We're going to turn that red, right? Because that's resistance. And so you can see for now, that's where we rejected off of, right? 2.5871 might not be an exact wick. We're not looking for exact wicks, right? We're looking for a confirmation that buyers and sellers have been active in that area. So if you're looking at this, what you're saying is, okay, if you ever get 2.2244 again, and you see, buyers showing strength there, for spot, you ladder in some, right? You go down here and then you see your 1.85 buyers showing strength. You ladder in some. 1.49, you ladder in some, right? And the important thing again is this should not be 100% of your bids, right? So let's say 50 to 60% you leave here, or I'll do 50-50. So 50% for this area, laddering in through this area. The remaining 50% for when you actually confirm locally, right? The trend has shifted. To do that, we need to go take out this high, sorry, that previous lower high, and then put in a higher low. When that happens now, we've got confirmation. Okay, completed M shape, key areas have been held, and now trend has also shifted, right? So you're just making it easier on yourself to make sure you've entered on the right side of the trade. You're on the buy side, you're on the right side of the V. You're not just entering prematurely, right? You're really letting it cook to the bone, if you know what I'm saying. So that would be where you ladder in with your 50% remaining position, position size, and then you'd be 100% positioned for this trade, right? And you're not going to have missed much of a move in this because you're not trying to catch this move if you're entering spot, right? You're trying to catch this move. You're trying to catch potentially going higher than that because obviously look at this project, right? And if you think if you go look at the fundamental research that Reddit's done on this, right? See how much you believe in this as a project. There's no reason for you to not be targeting targets like this in the euphoria of a bull run if you actually recapture this levels. Because if you look to the left on a significant time frame like the monthly and higher, there is nothing, just the wick. Okay. So if you ever manage to close above this and retest it on a higher time frame, you're not going to be surprised if you get God candles to 24, 43, so on and so forth, right? You'll at least be putting new data in.
Yeah, why do I take it with a grain of salt before before people will be like, I'm gonna hold to that wick? This is
Yeah,
just yeah, this can happen, you know. It's no guarantees. It can if there's enough demand and the
yeah, it
narrative
can
is there.
happen.
We've seen it before, right? Look at Metas, right, with those god candles from 13 to
Yeah,
150.
yeah,
So
exactly.
they
Right. You
can that stuff can
your
yeah.
main target for now is in the red, right? So you flip one, you zero. By that time, you're gonna have 2x already. It's gonna be up to you to, take some out from there, right? Around this area. Your as a harmonic trader, your main target is going to be between, in my opinion, $6.69 and $6.16. This is going to be where you take majority of your TPs. What you can do is if you then see a flip of this level, just take a bit of your profits that you took out and put it back in, just average up. Because at the end of the day, your average, since you have a bag from here, is still going to be somewhere around here, right? You can put your stop loss to break even at no risk to you whatsoever. But if you get a flip of this now, you can average up to try and catch that last move up towards 9. And if you close above this on the monthly, then at least you'll have a bag that you've already secured profits on, that your stop loss is a break even on, because obviously you're averaging up now. That could run you towards 24, right? But you're not going to sit here holding till 24, of course not, right? There's a reason I'm calling this a framework. We have a harmonic framework we're going to go with. And the harmonic framework is you're going to be, taking heavy profits around that eight at least, right over here. By the time you get here, if you're not taking any profits, you're obviously doing this wrong. You need to be de-risked by this point, stop loss or break even. Only when you then get confirmations of strength and you see buyers are actually, oh damn, all the supply has been eaten up as well. That is then when you enter again, right? Because then you have actual reason to do so. Until then, we don't know what future price action brings. You're going to take profits along the way. Aggressive TPing is always going to be better in my books than being just holding, right? Just holding. Because the thing is, if you know what you're doing as a trader, even with an investment bag, right? Even if you're trading spot, you can always TP aggressively at major resistance. And if you see a flip of that, just average up, right? And put your stop loss break even. You can always do that. It's a more active way of trading, sure, and it takes more effort on your part. But if you want to be aggressive, you do that. That's what I do majorly nowadays, right? I TP aggressively, and then once I get a confirmation of a flip of a level or a high low, signs of bias coming in, I just average up again. So even though my
Yeah,
PNL
wait,
might just
sorry to
be,
interrupt, bro.
yeah, sure,
Oh,
bro, no
sorry, because I
problem.
have to go, bro. I have to go.
Yeah,
Bro, if you're done, can you put the link in your channel, bro, so people can watch it back, man?
yeah, of
Yeah.
course, yeah, I'll do that, brother. Yeah,
Thank you very much, man. Yeah, wait a minute. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week, bro.
yeah, sure, bro, no problem. Thanks for joining in,
Bye
man.
bye.
Talk to you
Good
soon.
weekend,
Bye
bro. No
bye.
problem.
Anyway, this is GFI. GFI looks good. Uh, right over here. Yeah, no problem at all. 2%. Thanks for being here, man. GFI looks amazing, right? This looks really, really good. So that's one of mine. XRP, I know there's XRP haters out there. I just want to say the structure does not lie. That structure is so good on XRP. Like, I know, like it's a stable coin, whatever. It's a stable coin, and it has been a stable coin. I'm not denying that, right? But it's going to be a stable coin until it's not, right? Because if you look at that structure from 2017, it's been higher lows after higher lows, right? Someone is out there absorbing all the supply for this like an absolute shark. Okay. They are taking XRP off the market and it's subtle, but it's there, right? The people who are looking at this in terms of, oh, damn, look at XRP on the daily. What's it doing? Sure. But if you look at XRP now on the monthly, are you telling me that is a bearish chart? Because I do not see it. That is a very nice looking chart, right? In terms of what's happening at these lows, if you think about it in context, supply, higher highs, I mean, higher lows are being put in, right? Higher lows, maybe not higher highs, right? But higher lows are being put in, meaning every time XRP does have a retracement, there is someone out there with bids here that is just absorbing all the supply that's being thrown on. And this has been happening gradually over time, all the way from 2017 through to now, right? Someone's been on a buy campaign for XRP. And that's, I've been saying this for ages now, but XRP, there is nothing bearish. If you zoom out and consider the macro perspective, there is nothing bearish on XRP. Okay. And this is again, if you look at XRP on the line chart, right? I'm going to do this because obviously we're looking at such high time frame. If you look at XRP on the line chart, no, one sec, not that. I think we had another one. Let me go back to candles. Yeah, this right here. To begin with, we have a potential bat here on XRP, right? Again, this is all in context because of the fact that these are all liquidity rate wicks, right? We have a potential bat. This is not the cleanest harmonic. I completely understand. I'm also put this down to show that there is an M shape that has led to this accumulation sort of high lows, right? There is an M shape here, and the high lows are very, very telling, right? Because if something is making trending up and up and up over time, even though the prices might not be going higher, something's trending up over time. And we know we've had, that so much bullshit with XRP, right? The lawsuit, all of this. We have so much bullshit with XRP. Um, there's a reason why price has been down, is what I'm trying to say. But even amongst all that, this thing hasn't gone down to make, lose its lows or whatever, right? If anything, it's been trending up over time. So just something to consider, right? Just something to consider. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if some major news comes out for XRP out of absolutely nowhere, out of left field, just clotheslines the rest of the market, and XRP just pumps randomly, right? It might be a bit of hopium, who knows, right? We'll see if it actually happens or not. But XRP, structure-wise, right, in terms of what the candles have been telling me at the lows, it's someone's accumulating this, right? That's the only thing I can think of. Someone's accumulating this because look, it's trending up and up and up, right? So that's XRP. Again, not like a proper harmonic, but a completed M shape. That's what I'm trying to point out here. Right? So Link, that's the next one. What has Link done? Again, something very bullish, of course. You got a Gartley 786, 618, basically a 618, right? And then a 663, 1. This is a Gartley harmonic pattern. Where was the Gartley completing? Top of the previous accumulation range, right? Top of the previous accumulation range. That's where the Gartley completed. Very, very bullish. You cannot be fading structures like this, right? Look, even in terms of price action, SR, whatever you want to call it, this is very telling. You want to call this a monthly inverse fair value gap, right? This used to be a fair value gap, obviously. You broke out. You've once again flipped it support, right? You want to look at it as a liquidity pocket? Done. You want to look at it as support resistance? Done. You want to look at it as a breakout retest? Done. You want to look at it as a harmonic completed with a good reaction. You're now back above where you closed the previous triennial close, your 4 months, right? Link looks amazing. This looks amazing. And this is where you put your macro higher low in, right? This is where you put that higher low in on top of the accumulation range before you go absolutely nuts, right? You go nuts. Maybe you go take out, $34, $38, whatever, right? Obviously, you'd be going with the harmonic framework to begin with, right? But after you get above that, you're going to be sizing up if you ever get a flip of A to C. Okay, you get a flip of this zone, you size up on Link from your entries down here to run it to the next targets. Link looks absolutely amazing. Okay. You hold what was a weekly area with bias to control, look, flip to support, right? Your previous 4 month close, again here, your previous 4 month close, you flipped the mid into support 0.5. You're trying to break out of the one for now. On the daily, now if you get a successful retest, which you haven't had yet, right? If you get a successful retest of that 4 month close, 11.01, if you get a successful retest of this, that is where you would then begin your buy campaign personally, right? That is where you begin your buy campaign if you're not already in link. And again, I always say if you're in a local downtrend where you're trying to buy at the bottom, it's always worth entering 50 to 60% and having a bag left for when you're going to size up, when you actually change the trend. Okay. It's all in the name of risk management, emotional control, mental psyche help, right? Helps with all of those, all your problem is sorted in one decision, right? But definitely do this in a way that makes sense, but don't fade this. Okay, look, massive falling wedge, key structure developed, key M shapes developed, ratios are there to, like I said, liquidity flip to support, levels being reclaimed into support. This looks very, very bullish. Link looks amazing. Next one, Rune. Again, Rune, what do we have? We have a 786 Gartley that has completed here, right? You can see 636, that is within the allowed deviation range for Rune. So you've got a completed Gartley, and then you've put in a high low so far, it looks like, after your type 1 reaction, right? So there's you've gone and you've taken the B out, right? You've taken out the B. And if we're talking in terms of um, If we're talking in terms of A to D now, you haven't had a T1 yet, right? So your T1 zone is going to be here. And again, from Scott Carney's framework, right? Obviously T1 is your 382. I'm just going to take it as a zone. That just helps me out a bit, right? We're just going to take it as a zone. I prefer zones over horizontal lines. So I'm going to take that as a zone. That is your T1 zone, right? Your T2 is going to be, and this is how you find it for all harmonics, by the way. You go from your harmonic range extreme, your top to your bottom, right? And I don't mean X to A. I mean from, let's say, A to D or C to D in the case of extension harmonics. But this is your T2 zone right here, right? So delete that. There you go. So maybe you do something like this. Who knows, right? Maybe you go here, 618, right? Get the T1, come down, put a type 2, and then go for your T2, and then go higher. Maybe you do something like that, right? Or maybe you go straight for your T2, who knows? But all you do know is this is areas where you can manage your risk. Again, laddering and strategy, 50% here, 50% when you actually change trend, you size up, right? Ladder in, and you're good. You're good to catch the bulk of the move. Remember, you positioning here is not you trying to time the bottom. It's you positioning in such a way where you have managed to build a position that is now ready to take on the bulk of the move, right? You want to extract as much value as possible. You've got to ask, is timing the bottom really the most value you're extracting? Because timing the bottom isn't going to work 99% of the time, right? You just manage your risk here, right? Like I said, 50% of your position size for if you wanted to enter rune, you do so by laddering in at these key areas. If you cut below this, you just cut. That's it, right? If you see no, if you go down here to the Garley and you see no strength from buyers, you don't even ladder in. You just cut the entry you already had. You're hardly risking anything. But if buyers are showing willingness to hold this, for example, right? Then you have a reason to ladder in. And the remaining 50%, when you actually take out the last lower high and put in a new high, right? And then put in a high low afterwards, right? Something like that. That is where you would then enter on the right side of the V on the buy side, right? You have a much better argument now to okay, let's push it off from here, right? The trend is with you. You've built a bag out over time. You've accounted for chop. You've not been stopped out because you went to like an idiot, right? So that way you can really, really make your capital stretch and then extract the value, right? All in the name of that. No, don't be greedy or think you have to do everything all at once. You don't need to do that, right? Next one, 3ULL, right? So this one I actually asked about in crypto chat. So apparently this is a gaming project. Uh, I'm just saying that I don't know fundamentals wise. I'm not sure, right? There's better people to ask fundamentals wise. I'm just here for the technicals. Technicals wise, all I know is that is a perfect 1.618. This is a perfect 886. That is nearly a perfect 382, right? This is a very, very beautiful shark pattern that you've got on this, right? You have your 6 month fair value gap mid just below, but the top of the 6 month fair value gap has already been tagged. So you've hit higher time frame liquidity, right? So if you wanted to build a position here, you do so around the fact that, this 886, that is what you're basing on, right? If you start to close below the 886, you just cut it, right? And so for now, you can see how easy it is to manage your risk for a project like this. Maybe you want to include the 6 month fair value gap in your DCA, in which case you just cut this if you lost the 6 month FPG, if you started closing below it on a higher time frame, right? But managing your risk here, no matter how you decide to do things, right? And I'm not here to tell you how you should manage your risk. That is up to you to decide. Just know there's multiple ways. I don't know why people think there's only one way to manage risk. You enter here, do one DCA. That is very textbook. That's robotic, right? You can be very creative with this. Do this in a way that makes sense to you. What's going to help you manage your position size, your risk, your emotions, your mentality, right? That is how you should be managing your risk. But just technical wise, amazing entry. Not amazing entry, sorry, amazing area to look for entries, right? Confirmation. So currently you're still below your 4 month close, right? I don't like that. Ideally, I'd want to be above the 4 month close here. If you look at the 4 months again, this was your previous area where buyers were in control of the 4 months. And for now, you're still below it, right? Meaning buyers haven't shown that overwhelming strength here in this area yet. But as long as you hold this area, there's nothing to worry about, right? So if you lose zero, you don't want to hold this asset. But as long as you're holding zero and you're not closing below this zero, you're fine, right? Zero, for example, if you get this 886 and the zero point 0.5, that'd be some entry. Go back to the zero. As long as you don't lose it, if you break down but close above, that's your another entry. Try to catch it back up, right? But if you then stop closing below this, so on and so forth, I just cut it. I just cut it because you'll be back below the 4 month close now, right? And if you get back into it as support, you can just always re-enter. a 3ULL, however you pronounce this, bull, hole, heel, whatever this is, this looks good. Right. Next, SWI, look at this, macro 786, 1.618 on the extension, a 0.623 on the B. This is again a Gartley. This is what I mean. This is so far we've seen so many Gartleys, right? There's Gartleys across the board at key areas, and you've had an insane reaction off this. Absolutely insane. I do not know if you get a T2. If you get a high time frame T2 retest, right, it'll be even better. So you have hit your terminal one right here. You can see that, and technically, um, you hit your terminal one. You came down. What is this? This is a weekly order block right here. You have a weekly order block, and the weekly order block has been flipped to support, right? The weekly order block has been flipped to support. So that this was an amazing place to enter right over here. But maybe, I don't know if you get that, obviously. I can't promise it. I don't know if you go down to get like a deeper pullback into this order block, anything like that. But if you do, it's going to be an amazing buying opportunity for Sui, right? B point is right over here. So let me get rid of this. T1 obviously has been taken. So T1 is, for me, T1 is between the 3-4 and the 4-on-4. That is the T1 zone. That is what you're under. If you can flip that into support, if you're not in, I wouldn't blindly enter here now, right? Because technically, obviously, you're still at resistance. Wouldn't blindly enter. But if you now manage to flip this, then I would enter because your T2 zone is right over here, right? And I'd be looking for a tight risk to reward trade to the T2. If you flip the T2, then your A, flip A, go to new all-time highs, right? So Sui, honestly think this looks amazing, right? Amazing. I really hope we get a deeper pullback. I know word of a lie. I really hope we get a deeper pullback. But if we don't, then you wait for this to flip and you enter, right? Just patience here. Otherwise, you enter on that deeper pullback of that order block, especially, right? You feel that order block deeper. That order block is still valid. This weekly order block here. If you get a pullback into this deep part of this order block, right? You have the zero point 0.5 of the buy zone. You have the 13114 of the A to D, right? Key areas, it'd be a very nice confluence area for you to actually enter. So sweet. So clean. This looks really, really good, right? So on to the next one, GMX. So me and Reddit just talked about this one. GMX looks, in terms of harmonics, where you've got 1.13 on the C extension, right? 0.451 on the B, 0.886, pretty much perfectly on the D, right? You can see this is a completed harmonic. Let me get rid of that. And let me just pin the level that we're looking at here real quick. Yeah, that's 885. Let me just make it 886. One sec. There we go. That's your 886. We're putting that at 20.22, right? So let me just lock that in place. Coordinates 20.22. And this is I believe it was a sharp 0.886. You have had so far a very, very nice reaction off that shark 886, right? Um, Again, if we're talking in terms of now your targets, you've got the C to the D, right? You've not hit your terminal one yet. Your terminal one is over here, 34 to 382. That is your terminal one zone. Obviously, your 382 is your actual terminal one bar. Your 618 to your 66 to 618 to 702 sorry. Right here. This is your terminal two zone again. But of course, your actual terminal two bar is the 618. So let me just lock that in place. And apart from that, you can also just point out that the B of the harmonic is right there, and the harmonic extremities are right over here, right? A to C. So here are your targets for this setup on the macro, right? On the macro. I'm not promising this is going to take 1 week to play out, right? This can take time, but that's why you take your time building positions to account for that, right? And I'm sure you can throw more harmonics on this, I'm sure, right? Even from like local structures like this, I'm sure you can put more down. I'm just going to put this down. This is the significant one. This is the high time frame one. Right? This is the macro. GMX, amazing place to enter. Even where to enter now, look, very simple. You close below this 886. You get rid of it. If you wanted a tight stop, you could literally just put your stop somewhere below that D, right? Look at historical price action. I see all these wicks here. You could literally just do this. Stops below this, right? And your swing target is this, right? 11.52 RR would make sense for you to strategize your entries to be somewhere within this lower region, right? Doesn't have to be exactly here. You don't have to go 100% here. If you ladder in, like I've been saying, I'm not going to keep talking about it because I know I say it every single chart I go on, but ladder in, right? 50% for this area, 50% for when the trend changes, you're sorted. We can talk about the falling wedge, we can talk about a lot, but I think the actual chart speaks for itself. This looks amazing. So this is GMX. Next, let's look at Toshi. Now, this is one Swimon was talking about ages ago, if you guys remember, right? This is a meme coin. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because you have completed a BAT 886 here, right? You can see that. 512, 716, 2.019, 886, right? You're not going to be entering this yet just because you're below that macro 886, right? I'm giving it some time. What you want to see is a reclaim of this 886, right? Maybe you do this. You have a left shoulder, you have a head, maybe you go back up, come down, put a right shoulder, and then you have that, structure where we see the low, rate of the low, reconfirmation of the rate, reconfirmation that the support, what was on support is indeed support, that technical price action. Maybe we see something like that. But if you do get something like that, you're going to have an absolutely amazing looking chart on Toshi, right? So currently you are below the 886. This doesn't look the cleanest right now. But if you wanted to enter, like if you wanted to enter here, right, what do you have? You have the fact that the last 4 month close is where you're within. You're within the last 4 month close. Last 4 month a buyer zone, right? So you're below the last 4 month close, but within the last 4 month buyer zone at the end of the day, flip the mid into support. So what you're saying is if you see this breakout and this, you're also saying you've flipped your last 4 month close into support again, right? Which is another reason to enter. But whatever the reason, Toshi, right? If you get the 886, I definitely at least get a gander. We can see how hard this has run in the past. And I don't know if this is still a narrative. I don't know what narrative Toshi falls under, but chart wise, risk management wise, it's there. Right? Chart wise, risk management wise, the structure is there for you to target. D for your actual harmonic. Go A to D for your actual so here's your D candle here, right? Your T1 and T2 and etc. Right? Your T1's here, your T2's here, extremes are there. That's how you find your actual harmonic targets. But that is Toshi, right? Another completed M shape. And this one currently below, you're looking for the reclaim to enter, right? XMR, this one, Monero. Now, this one, I know it's a Dino coin. I know, whatever, right? But here's something I noticed the other day. If you take that low, right? And if you go to log, let's really confirm, we've taken the low, right? From 2015. You take that low, you pin it to your 2021 high, and you take it down to your B here, right? And if you go if you go to line chart, it's going to look a bit weird, but if you go to line chart, you're still going to get a valid harmonic. If you do this, and this is now a bit in context, right? Because I've pinned this to the middle of what looks like a wick. Why have I done that? Because what I'm saying is when this move down happened, yes, you went way below that 618, right? But what happened when you actually got there? You got to close way above the 618, right? Meaning the 618 obviously still acted as support, right? This was just a liquidity rate. And I'm not just going based off that, I'm going based off what happened after that. Well, it was further used to support. 618 was used to support once again. And when you broke down, the retest happened again at the 618. So 618 is being regarded still, right? So that is your key level. The 618 is still being regarded. So that's why I've marked this as a macro godly 618, right? Right there. This has been in development over years, right? And after that, what we have, you have the move up to the 0.44, and then you move back down to the D point. What did the D point yield? A 1.618, right? So you have a 618, you have a 786, and a 1.618 extension. Pretty much perfect ratios for this godly, all happening at this area, right? All happening at this area where I put down macro godly 786 plus 1.618, right? All happening here. We had accumulation, but it looks like, just it's a sideways chop. We know this hasn't been very volatile. We had high volume selling, right, going into that macro partly 786 plus 1.618. But look, it got defended. Not a single candle body closed below, right, on the higher time frame. And now you're reacting off that again, right? So this is very reminiscent. This is reminding me of what Link was doing, right? The accumulation range. This looks like an accumulation range to me, right? From 2022 all the way to now. This looks like an accumulation range, right? But coming off of a macro godly from 2015, right? Very, very high time frame stuff here, very high development. Trend is still to the upside. If we're talking, higher time frame trend, we can see new lows haven't been made. So there's life in the chart still, right? There's life in the chart still. And now you're above actually. If I now turn off this one, so right, I turn off group one, get rid of the brush, and we go bit by bit. Why have I marked this area out first? If we go on to the 6 months, we can see, well, this was an area where sellers were in control for the 6 months, right? And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to mark it to this one on the left here, just like that, right? Just like this. This is what I'm actually going to mark it to. There you go. 6 month resistance, right? That would be your target, at this your original target from this breakout, 229, 284, 339, right? 9 months, we don't really need to worry about the 9 months. On the 12 months, right? 12-month target's obviously way bigger. You're taking this entire zone into consideration, right? So I'm just going to do that. Oh, hang on, actually. Do this. Go on range. It's here. There we go. This is your 12-month targets, and I'm going to color it a slightly deeper red right over here, almost brown. What we're saying is, if you can now flip 229, you've got 284. If you can flip that, you've got 339 to 373. If you can 10 with, if you can flip that, then 518 basically, right? These become your higher time frame targets. Now, I'm not saying Monero is going to run back towards $500, right? It might not. It might. We don't know. But at the areas currently in, it's definitely showing signs of accumulation for a expansion to the top side, right? Look at this. Look at this on the weekly and tell me that looks bearish, right? This doesn't look bearish. Held, held, higher low. It's ready to break. It looks almost ready to break out, right? And of course, we might have one more raid. We might come down again. Who knows? But eventually, when you do get above this accumulation range, you're going to get exactly what happened with Link, right? We saw what happened with Link, which is a massive expansion. The argument goes out the window if the harmonic is lost, for sure. The argument goes out the window if the harmonic is lost, right? But until that happens, until this range low is confirmed to be resistance, we don't think about that, right? We think, okay, well, look, this has been regarded as support. There is no reason to think weakness. Look, not a single, even on the weekly, not a single candle body closed below this area. So key area here for Monero, I think Monero looks great. I think this looks really, really good. This other targets are more local targets, right? So if I go on something like this 6 months here again, just marked out on the previous 6 months, wherever buy is active over here, and look, you've just about front ran the 0.5 of that, right? And this one is from, uh, where is it from? Probably from like the yearly or something. Yeah, look, yearly buyer zone here, right? Area where buyers were active on the yearly. You've literally gone to rate the full thing and closed above it, right? Based on this wick here. So very, very bullish. On the higher time frame, this thing looks so, so bullish. Okay. So once again, XMR, this looks crazy good. If you break out this accumulation range, I think XMR is probably going to surprise a lot of people. So definitely have this one in your watch list. Like even if not for spot, just for a leverage trade, you can catch some really, really nice swings with this. Right? Really, really nice. Flip, for example, flip range highs. Your range highs a bit lower, of course. That's the macro Carly 618. Flip range highs, for an entry. If you don't flip range highs, you're currently at resistance. You're not going to obviously blindly enter here. Maybe you get another pullback towards range lows if Bitcoin drops. Who knows, right? If not, even if you get a pullback towards 147, right? Anything like this. If you want to take lower time frame entries, you're going to treat each of these like key levels to hold or lose, right? If you want higher time frame entries, these are the levels you work around for possible laddering in. Depending on your time frame depends on how tight of an entry you're looking for. But all I'm here to show you is, look, the structure for XMR, in my opinion, is not to be faded here. I think this looks really, really clean. This looks super clean. Um, so that's XMR. We have Trias. So obviously, now this goes into the more low cap territory, right? Trias. We had an amazing breakout on Trias. Uh, I think we had a huge cup and handle breakout on Trias. And now what you've got is, again, you have a short 886 completing at demand line, right? So very easy to manage risk here. If you do decide to enter, here, you're just going to close if you go and make fresh lows, right? That's it. If you go and close below this demand line, you flip it to a supply line, you just exit your positions, right? It's pretty much going to be a break even. So in terms of risk to reward, Trias is at a very interesting place. If you take a look, demand line being held, completed M shape, right? Completed M shape. Even if you were to enter right now on spot, look, very simple. You lose that D, and you can go with just wicks, or you can go with actual wait for candle body to close. Um, you've got a area where you can get like a 5.9 RR trade out, possibly, right? If Trias does catch bids and decides to go for that B of the harmonic at the minimum, you've got a nice RR area here for Trias. Eta, and now these are going into the more low cap territories, right? Whether you decide to invest on any of these now up to you, because obviously there's better looking charts than these out there that we went over at the start of the stream, right? But theta, what's it done? Locally speaking, again, 2.618 for your theta, right? So first things first, what I'm putting down here is a bat, right? This is a bat. The 2.618 for your bat is right over here. Let me just mark it out for you. One second, just zoom in. The 2.618 of your bat, right over here. Let me just see what that is. 1.0592, right? Let me just get it. 1.0592. That is the two bat 2.618. And deeper than that, what you actually have your 886, right? So if you take this, I move it down. So of course, now you've gone past the ratios for your extension on your BTD, right? But that's okay because it's not by that much, and this is still valid in terms of harmonic framework, right? So 886 is right over here. So 886 is a 9332, right? So that's what we're going to put this line here, 9332. And this is the BAT 0.886, right? Perfect. There we go. And hang on, settings, middle, settings, middle. There we go. So basically saying this is the zone that you need to hold, and you can already see the confluence with historical price action, right? You can see support, 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 support. So you've held that as support again. So if you're again looking for another coin where you can manage your risk, theta, another one, right here, completed M shape, and you're targeting, even if I don't draw out the T1s and T2s, right? You're targeting the B and then the A to C, right? Very, very simple. So that is theta. Another one where you can manage your risk super easy, right? One, Harmony one. Let's check this one out. What is it doing? Okay, so we already have a bat. You can see that 0.886, right? And after that 0.886, we've chopped around there for a while, and now you're trying to recapture that bat. So if you can now get a confirmation flip of this 886 into support, you're once again, you can draw your T1s and T2s out, but you have a B, you have an A to C as well, right? So another one where you have a completed M shape, right? Completed framework for you to actually manage your risk around, right? That's the whole point I'm doing this stream, just to show you how many coins there are right now. And I'm sure I'm missing some coins, right? I'm sure I'm missing some coins. It's not like I've charted every single coin there is on the market, but I've tried to chart each one that I think at least has some sort of relevancy, right? So BATS 886 right here. If you manage to flip that into support, right, you could go for daily entry models here. So you can see you've had a breakout. If you get some sort of daily retest and close above, very easy for you to manage your risk, right? Enter. Invalidation is if you then go and lose the wick that retested on the daily successfully, you just close. Very simple, right? But one is another one where you can easily manage your trade around. And the next one after Harmony one is again FTM. That's the other one I'm looking at, right? So if I go on the weekly, this might be a bit too much. It might get a bit confusing. So let me strip some data off. Get rid of that firstly. Get rid of this rectangle. This all targets we had from. Yep, yep, and yep. I get rid of that. So what I'm personally looking for on FTM is the fact that we have a 632 here. We have a 0.609 here and a 786, right? We do have a Gartley here. And the Gartley, where we completed is over here, right? The easiest thing to do is going to be, that is 0. Oh, that is a ridiculous amount of numbers, isn't it? Let's go on settings. 843. So that's this one here. Copy that. Okay. And then I'll just copy and paste it here. There we go. That is your RGA GAT, GART, Gartley 0.786, right? You've rated it, come up and reclaimed it. On the weekly, you've reclaimed the Gartley as support. If you take a look, what's happening here? You have your left, you have your middle. Now you're putting in your right, right? That textbook price action you see before reversals tend to happen on a higher time frame, on a lower time frame as well. It's occurring here. A pattern many people know all very well. So if you get any sort of pullback now, if you get one more retest, for example, actually, let's look at the daily. On the daily, you technically haven't had a retest on the daily yet of this breakout. If you get that, it's a blessing. That's why I've managed my entry zone, right? If you're not already in FTM. FTM, another one, completed harmonic, raid plus reclaim. This looks amazing, right? FTM looks really, really good. This is an old trade setup. Let me get rid of this one. Let's look for a new one. One sec. Delete, 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 delete. Wait for this weekly to close. We have 2 days, right? Depending on how this closes, maybe we get a slight pullback here on the daily, right? Even if you see some sort of higher low coming in on the daily, right? It doesn't have to exactly the 786. As soon as you see that rounding structure coming on the daily, I'll start laddering in there, right? And again, when the trend shifted, the last lower high, technically still lower highs, lower lows still. We haven't gone and put in a high low yet. When that happens, you say 50% of your position size for that, and 50% you enter strategically at these areas, right? And then you'll be fully positioned by the time the trend shifted to catch the bulk of the move. Easy. So FTM looks amazing, right? So you can see how many projects there are where you can manage your risk, right? FTM, Coty, another one. This actually had a very crazy candle yesterday. Um, so what we have on Coty is if I go on to the 3 day, maybe we can zoom in a bit. There we go. This is again a Gartley, right? You can see how many Gartleys are printing. 786, 583, 1.394, 0. Whatever ratio this is within, right? 0.886. Perfect. What did you do? You chopped around the 786, right? You're still chopping. You're above the 786 for now. So a confirmation flip of the 786 would be absolutely huge, in my opinion. Right? You might not get it, but you do now technically have a potential fair value gap being created on the 3 day here, which you might fill before you go higher, right? But now, since you're above the 786, what you're saying is you're no longer be just sat there being stupidly bearish on Coty, right? You're going to wait to see if you actually see buy stepping in here the next time you visit. If you do, then that is your trigger to ladder in on Coty. Again, the trend is still to the downside, 50% entries here, like total 50% here, laddering in 50% over time. And then your actual final 50% is going to be done, or 60, whatever, ratio you guys decide to go with. But when the trend shift actually occurs, put the high low in, that is when you put in the remainder of your bag in, right? That's when you put that in. Bokoti, another one, completed M shape, Gartley, the buyer zone defended, buyer zone, strong reaction off the buyer zone. If I go on to something like the 12 months, right? Which is where I got this level from. You can see 12-month seller zone. You've actually now, even though this was the area in the 12 previous yearly candle where sellers were active, you've gone and flipped the mid of that to support, right? And we haven't actually had a confirmation flip yet. I would hesitate to call this a breakout retest. I suppose it is a breakout retest, but one more visit here is, in my opinion, would be very nice in this zone, right? On the yearly, on the 6 months, on the 4 months, on everything, on all the major time scales, right? It'd be a very nice flip if we got like a weekly flip of that or something like this. Amazing entry, and then you're trying to catch the bulk of the move, right? Coty, another one. That's a really really nice area to manage your risks. After Coty, we have Ada. Yes, I know this coin. But what this coin is doing is significant, right? What is this coin doing? Firstly, what is this? This is 886. What is the 886? That is just automatically tell you what this is, right? Or pretty much a perfect 86 anyway. This is a shark, right? Raid on the right, come down on the left. This is a shark. You have a completed shark. And the important thing is, where did the shark complete? Right? Where did the shark complete? If we once again zoom out and we go on to something like the yearly, right? Or maybe even the 6 months in this case. Yeah, the 6 months. Go on to the 6 months, you realize this is an area in the past where on the 6 months, buyers took control, right? Buyers took control. So if buyers took control back from the sellers in this area, And once again, buyers are showing strength here. That means that well, the validity of this area is has been proven, right? Where buyers were once active, it's the same area where buyers are active again. And you got a high volume sell kind of straight into there, which got severely retraced, right, on the weekly, meaning this now is the weekly buy zone, right, locally speaking. And again, what did we do after this weekly buy zone was put in? Let me color it blue. You went, you confirmed the middle of the support, and now you're broken out of there, right? So you still have the halfway point of that yearly seller zone. Now, if I go into the 12 months again, you can take a look, not seller zone, sorry, again, yearly buyer zone from history, right? Area where buyers were active, that you currently that you were under, you flip the bottom of that into support as well. So now the next day of affairs, flip the middle of that into support and then the one, and then after that, you're basically running to B, right? You're running to B slash C point of this shot. So those are your key levels to watch for currently on ADA, right? But again, completed M shape, very easy area to manage your risk, right? And I'm right over here. And over here, what you also have, well, you have, if this is a low, you have a potential bet, right? You have a 416 on the B. You have an 886 retracement pretty much perfectly on this high low we put in for now. So if this comes to play, in the future, you could be staring at now what is the makings of a macro bearish bat, right? And again, where would the bearish bat take you if you go on to the 12 months, right? If you go into the 12 months, what is this? On the 12 months is the area where sellers were in control, right? The area where sellers took control back from the buyers. That's what this is. So again, a very key area to actually go and target. So, stars seem to be aligning for ADA. So it's just to buy, step in or not, right? That's the question. But again, ADA, another one where risks are very easy to manage. Anchor, the next one. If we take a look, again, macro trend is being held, right? This demand line held, uh, held, support, support. And now again, being used as support, being regarded as support. What do you have? You have a shock. You have a 886 close enough to a 1.618, right? So I could actually mark the 1.618 out as well. But since this already hit the 86, there's no point, right? But actually, no, why not? Let's do it. Where's the 1.618? Here's the 1.618, right? So the 1.618 is at 0.02103, 0.02103, and this is the shock 1.618. There you go. Right. So this is an area basically where you've got that Fibonacci convergence, right? Very, very key. And that is the area that's once again, right, been regarded as support on anchor. You had a reaction, this return, which also further re-regarded this as support. So now if you see some sort of higher low structure being put in here, right, you bid, right? Because again, easy to manage risk. Trend is still to the downside. So I would say this again, 50, whatever ratio you're comfortable with, but I want to go all in here, right? Select an amount. So for example, 50% to ladder into these lower areas should you get the pullback, initial entry here, right? 50% to ladder into and 50% to actually just buy once the trend shift is confirmed, right? So that is anchor. Again, very, very nice. Key areas have been held, right? You can see support in the past, right? Chop, support here. Easy areas for you to manage your risk. Uni, the next one I'm looking at, 0.886 BAT here on the retracement, right? This is a BAT. You've got the 886, you've got the 511, the 2.631, right? Pretty much a perfect 2.618 basically on this 886. And you've had a reaction off it, right? You've had a reaction off it. Your B points all the way up here now. Your C point pretty much lines up with the 0.5, not going to point it out, and your A is all the way here, up here. It seems, right? Again, trend is still to the downside for now on uni, right? You can see almost putting a sort of double bottom in this is technical lower high for now compared to this. So let's see what happens. Do you get a deeper flush or do you come in and put in a higher low? Anything like this, right? But if you do see higher lows being formed here now, when you get down here, that will be nice areas for you to ladder in. Right? And again, many of these coins now, like these, the reason I'm showing you these is not to take scalps, right? You can try and take scalps with your own setups. I'm showing you these where these coins are potentially putting in the macro bottoms, right, for the next leg up. And if that is the case, then it's just about you building your position over time and not getting chopped out to catch the bulk of the move. That's all you need to do. That's all you're here to do. You're not here to time the bottom. right? Be some savant, try to catch everything perfectly. You're just here to catch the bulk of the move up, right? Make sure you don't get stopped out. Make sure you're positioned where you need to be. And then after that, just catch the bulk of the move up and distribute on people when it's time to do so, right? So uni, another one. Let's take a look at Wu. This is one I was looking at, right? So Wu looks absolutely amazing. What you got here was a raid of the range, right? This here, this candle here, if you see what it did. Oh, wait. Was it a raid of the range? No, it was a tap of the range. It wasn't an actual raid, but you basically went back to range lows, right? And what did you put in here? This is your sharp 1.618, right? This right here. This is the reason I've got this particular level marked out. You have a completed M shape right over here. You have a completed sharp. Look, 1.618 on the extension, 1.618 on the other extension, 1.618 to 1.618, right? This is a valid shark. You've had a really nice reaction of it. Again, on the 6 months, yeah, 6 months, this scenario where buyers were in control in the past, right here. So this is the levels you're working around for now. You need to get above 0.188 next, right? That's obvious, looking at it from that perspective. So again, if you get any sort of pullbacks on this, right, you're gonna ladder in. If you get a flip of resistance into support, you're gonna ladder in, right? You're not gonna be looking to say, oh, how can I look for shorts anymore? As long as you're above these areas, you're going to be focused. Your argument for upside is stronger than to the downside, right? Look, here's a weekly buy zone, for example. Turn to resistance, turn to resistance. You're trying to break above it, right? So let me now put that in terms of levels, so it's easier for you to see. Range here to here, right? This used to be a area on the weekly where buyers took control from the sellers, and what you're attempting now is a breakout from the set area. So should you get a successful flip, and you've already had one flip of the zero point 0.5, you can see that and you have an ongoing attempt to flip the one, right? For this could be it. Like you could definitely start. You have an initial position here, leave whatever's left of your entry, however much position. Let's say you want to put 10K into Woo, right? Maybe you enter with a 2K position size here and you leave 8K. Maybe you enter with a 3K position size and you leave 7K to DCA with. However you do it is completely up to you. 5K to enter, 5K to DCA with, completely up to you, right? Then out of that remaining, let's say, just for argument's sake, I'm going to say 10K. Let's say you entered 10K, you have 10K totals according to Woo, and you enter with, let's say, 4,000 here, right? Initial position, 4,000. And then you have 6,000 left to DCA with. You split that 6,000 into a ratio. Like I said, for me, 50-50. 50% is to size up if you have pullbacks and you see strength at key areas, and the remaining 50% of that, so 3K to size up on pullbacks, and the other 3K you're going to enter manually once you actually get a confirmed flip of trend, right? That way, if the trade goes against you, you're not risking getting stopped out on your entire 10K position size, right? So your perceived loss is also going to be less, right? And that is what I'm saying, account for time, obviously, when entering too. You always have more time than you think you do. But this is Woo, another one that's like key areas, right? Um, After Woo, we have Sushi. Sushi is an interesting one because we have again a shark, right? This is a shark harmonic. And this is one of the only ones that's gone and raided its lows, right? Look, October 2020 low, raided with a shark and a strong reaction of it for now. So speaking logically, obviously, there's better looking charts than Sweep, right? So even though I've gone over all these, there's some setups obviously going to be better than others. But again, in terms of managing your risks and in terms of running this back up to the top, just pointing out that this is an area which look, the coin has raided its lows, a successful raid, close above, right? Reconfirmation of supports. What is the risk to you? Hardly any for the potential upside, right? So what if, for whatever reason, right? Just a what if some insane buy campaign starts for sushi and you actually end up getting above this harmonic. Well, if you get above this, your next target's around this area, right? You're risking not catching all that move if you what I'm trying to say, if you completely fade structures like these, right? So easy to manage your structures at areas, easy to manage your risk at structures and areas like this. And that's the most important thing. Not how high can you go? How much are you going to lose if you're wrong, right? That's what you're trying to really, really take into consideration. So it's usually another one that really just slows. You've got a completed M shape, right? You have an area, very logical area where you can enter and manage your risk, especially again, if you go in with a laddering in strategy, right? Next one, 1 inch, right? Again, now not the strongest chart on the macro, but I'm just here to show you there is a completed M shape, right? There is a shark. No, sorry, there is a bat. There is 886. And currently you're trying to recapture this, right? You're trying to recapture this 886 here. So if the recapture is successful, then you're saying, okay, well, this harmonic's in play, whether you go for the T1, you go for the B, ATC, you've got external targets to then aim towards, right? So this is 1 inch under the completed M shape, another one where you could very easily strategize your entries and stop loss. But this is, again, this is confirmation based. You're waiting for the successful flip, which you haven't technically had yet, although this could be ongoing attempt, right? Maybe you get it on the weekly, maybe on the 3 day, on the daily, who knows? But we'll see. But this is 1 inch. And again, if the daily closes above like this, you could definitely just already enter a small position, right? Again, if you had a 10K to spare on 1 inch, you'd enter based on a daily close, I'd enter like 1.5K, 2K. If you close below, just get rid of it, right? And if you close above, just re-enter. You're gonna lose nothing on spot, okay? But you're really managing your downside that way, right? That's the important thing. So that's 1 inch. Next, we're looking at OGN, right? Origin Protocol. This one again, completed M shape. You have a bat. You're currently propped up against the 886 as resistance. You're looking for a reclaim of the 886 for higher. Until the 886 is reclaimed, we're not gonna. This isn't in play, right? So just mentioning that once the 886 is reclaimed, and you'd probably be above your your 4 month close as well. You've got your targets to the upside after that. You're targeting 1.399 next. Target the B, this, the ATC. Right? So OGN. Then, we have Alchemix. This one right here. What do we have? We have a shark on Alchemix, right? If you look at the chart, at the lows, we have a completed M shape. We have a shark. We have the shark completing at a area where buyers have been active in the past. If you take a look at this on the 6 months, right? From here to here, buyers have been active, right? Look on the 12 months, previous year, this is the area where buyers took control, right? So you're saying, okay, buyers are willing to take control here again. That's a sign of bullishness, and which they have, right? They show control. More than that, they put a high low in at the midpoint of the previous 4 month buyer zone, right? So this is on the 4 months now, the last 4 months candle. This is where buyers took control, and on the weekly, you put a high low in at the mid of the area, right? So now you're trying to close above the one. If you get a retest now, and also, by the way, you flip the 86 into support, right? So now if you get some sort of daily retest of that one, hopefully it's not happened yet. And by the looks of things, it hasn't. If you get some sort of pullback into this zone again, and you see strength coming in, you bid, right? But honestly, if you wanted to go spot, you could bid this on spot here. Again, laddering in strategy, right? Initial entry, remaining on your position size, split into a ratio where you want to ladder one ratio down here, the other ratio at a trend flip, all to catch the bulk of the move. Gaffy, on the one where the macro chart is obviously completely shit. So, like I said, some of these setups are obviously going to be worse than others. But again, just under the one where, locally speaking, you're in an M shape, right? 886 has been hit. If you can flip the 86 back into support, you have a reason to try and play a harmonic framework trade at least. But again, I will repeat, some of these, there's going to be, rankings to these, right? Some setups are going to be way better than others, even if you consider what project it is, right? So obviously, do you want to be in Say or do you want to be in Gaffy? Right? The choice is up to you. I'm simply giving you, as the viewer of this stream, the option and the choice to be like, okay, well, just to show you, there's multiple different projects, right? There's no excuse for fumbling here. Just in case this is the macro bottom. Like if we do look back at this moment 5 months, 6 months, a year down the line, and everything's way higher than now, this what you're saying is we're areas now where we potentially have the macro bottom's core, right? So, just no point fading these. That's the reason I'm just showing you, right? All these different ones. So SparX, obviously we know this is a low cap, but again, even though this is a low cap, the area where it's at, look, Shark 1.618, Shark 886, pivotal area, right? So as long as strength is there, if you've got absolutely no money whatsoever and you're just willing to literally just put in $500, that's all you have to your name, and you're just wanting to see go zero or hero with that, this is the type of project you put your coins into, right? Because now you're literally like, okay, well, I either turn this into a bag or I, get out with less than $500. So if you're someone with very small position size and you can't even think about, your position size so small, like you genuinely don't even have a enough capital, let's say, to have a proper portfolio, right? In that case, yeah, if you want to take a gamble, we can go for it, right? Here we go. 886, here's your shot. You get below this, you cut, right? But if you stay above this, you have a reason to absolutely send it, right? Again, M shape, 886s, 1.618 extensions all being hit, right? Major levels being regarded as supports. S fund, this is a good one to look at if you're looking at any launch pads. If you want to add a launchpad project to your portfolio, S fund is at an amazing area. Again, it's sharp, right? And this isn't quite the proper extension, right? 1.618 minimum. But that's why I marked this out, right? Because the 86 of the total ratio has been hit. So you're considering the zone between the 86 and the 1.618, right? So you could for sure go deeper if this 86 is lost, but this is the zone where you'd be now uh, structuring your buys, right? Basically. Small initial entry here, majority if you get this zone or if you get a trend shift. Very, very simple pass one, just because obviously that sharp 1.618 is just as valid, if it gets hit. It's definitely a target. So if you then flip this 86 into resistance, that's the next area I'd be aiming for, on top of the harmonic. Right? But if you're looking for a launchpad project, if that's something you're still wanting, then C to 5, right? S1, the structure's starting to develop where you pay attention to this, right? You don't pay attention to here, I don't blame you. You don't pay attention to this when this is happening. But once these areas are hit, you got to start paying attention. Sava, AVAX launch, right? So a few launchpad projects here. Again, Shark 886 and a 1.8618 just below. If you wanted, to get some sort of, I don't know if this, I've never actually owned XAVA myself, but if it was something you were looking at, if you wanted some, I'm guessing this is to do with Avalanche, Avalanche, AVAX, just from the name. I might be wrong. But if you're looking for if I'm right and you're looking for a AVAX based launchpad project, then this might be a good one to pick up. Right, again, key areas where you can manage your risk very, very easily. That's XAVA. Next, we're going to look at Mina. Mina, another one I'm eyeing because of the M-shaped structure that's developing here, right? We've hit the Shark 886, we've hit the Shark 1.618, right? And this down here is going to be a 1.13 of this Shark should be go lower. So obviously, what we're saying is you're not going to enter this yet. You either flip this area back into support, or you get that lower bid, right? Um, Either way, it's confirmation based. It's not ready yet. Mina is not ready yet. So flip that for entry, or you probably get that deeper one over time, right? In line with the trend. Um, but yeah, not ready yet. So you're at least hoping for this if you want to be bullish on this project. You're hoping for a reclaim, and then hopefully you can send it out. Boba, right, I'll go a bit quicker through this now because I understand it might be a bit long in the stream. Boba, if you remember this shitcoin, what do we have here? 2.618 on the extension, right? 0.886 of the bat, 0.382 on the retracement. By all means, this is a very valid M shape, right? So even though this is a shitcoin, you do have a very valid M shape here. So again, what you're looking for? You're looking for a flip. Flip this, you're going to go higher, right? No flip, no entry. Right? No flip, no trade. Metis, we looked at this with Redo just now, right? We're at an area where you have the 2.618 of the shark here, right? And then so let me just note that down real quick. So this is 33.83, right? So we're going to go on settings, coordinates, 33.83. That is the 2.618 of the shark. So 2.618, shark 2.618, okay? And a bit deeper than that, what do we have? We have the 886, right? Because we know that's the minimum ratio needed for a shark. So the 886 is going to be a bit deeper, right? So if you do go for the 886, obviously you are technically extending past the allowed ratio for B to D. But what I'm going to do is treat it as a zone, right? So your 2.618 is up there, and your 886 is simply, always does this, it misses the 886 and goes straight to 7. Your 886 are down there, right? So we're going to take this and do this, and this is 26.14. Just going to type that in here. Coordinates 26.14. And then this is your shark 0.886. There you go. So you can flip this 2.618 into support in Metis, really good area, right? Amazing area. We know how hard Metis run for us in 2023, right? This went from $12 all the way up to 149, right? So this would be an amazing high low, like flip of it, resistance into support. So get over 2.618, you can start bidding nicely, in my opinion. Elos, this is Telos, right? Again, M shape, you have a godly here. That's what I'm eyeing. You can see you have a godly uh, 1.618, right? 768 to 76 zone in this area. You broke above that, and then now you're looking for that retest, right? So structure-wise, this looks really good. Look what you're retesting. Resistance, 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 flipped into support, right? If you wanted to long this and you wanted the tightest stop loss possible, right? You just care about where your stop is. You don't care about how likely the stop is of being hit. You just want a tight stop loss. You literally have it right over here. Right, stop loss below here. Maybe below this gap, something like this, right? Below the 0.5, whatever. No matter how you do it, you can see how tight your play is for spot here, right? This is Telos. You have a Gartley again, right? That's the argument here, Gartley. 1.618 to 786 zone is literally around this area here. And that's just where you're trying to flip, right? You can take this a bit deeper to the 786, and then that'll be a bit past the 1.618. But as long as you're within the 1.618 to 786 area and you're above it, this harmonic is in play. Okay. Let me just show you what I mean. So 1.618 is obviously here, 09514. When we go on settings, coordinates, copy it. Okay. Go on here, settings, coordinates, paste, text. This is Gartley 1.618, right? And if we take this, lock it, and we take the harmonic, and then we drag the harmonic down a bit to now have a 786, right? The 786 is just a tad bit lower, right? Just around here somewhere. Nice, there you go. And then just the coordinate of that is, let's go on settings, coordinates, is this one right here. Take it, okay, put down a ray, and then go to coordinates, paste it in. And this is the Gartley 786. Right, there you go. So this between the zone basically, as long as you're above that, maybe you even get a retest. If you get a retest, even better. But above this zone, this harmonic here is in play. You can see like historic, a very historic area, right, for the PRZ here. Egos, OMG, right? Another one, 886. Right, I'm gonna start speeding through this now because my headphone's about to die. But we have and a completed M shape 886 and reclaim of the 886. Every time seller decides to go below the 886, you have buyers recapturing the area. Very easy to manage your risk here, right? Very easy to manage your risk. T fuel, another one where you have a godly 786. Look, 786, 652, 1.239. Very nice M shape, right? Godly. And where's the godly occurring? If I just hover my crosshair with this area, key area from history, right? You have confluence here, key area from history. So under the completed M shape, you can manage your risk around, right? Layering and laddering strategy, I've been describing this whole stream, just go with that. VTHOS, VTHOR token, right? Look, 886, bad. You've got two different bad 886s here, right? One there, another one, if you take a slightly higher low, whatever, right? Both valid. Area where you have, two 86s lining up, obviously very key area. As long as you're above this, you can manage your risk so easy. That's what I'm saying, right? Again, laddering and strategy. You have DMT, Dream Machine Token, right? Who remembers this one? This one was hyped the hell up, wasn't it? Now, what do you have, right? No one's talking about this now, but look where it is currently. Completed M shape. Firstly, in the form of a shark, right? The shark 886. You've already is actually it's a bit slightly lower, I think, isn't it? Or has it been hit? Okay, no, it's a bit slightly lower. So one more drive down, and this would be great. But you're not going to be stingy over 0.005% of ratio, right? So in all honesty, this shark is complete, right? The shark is complete. You have a macro shark here on DMT, add key areas, right? If you can recapture this 0.5 into support, amazing. You're probably going to run very fast back towards 61 to $67. Okay. So another one, DMT, right? Let's look at next. This is another one I'm looking at, right? Look at the M shape on this. You have a 786 Godly, right? And currently you're trying to flip the Godly back into support. So if that happens again, you have a beautiful M shape with flip confirmation, you'll be looking for higher. Easy to manage your risk, right? Cetus, another one. What do you have? Look, 618, 786, Godly. Right? You have a perfect Godly, 382 on the retracement. You have chopped around here, and then now you're broken back into the godly 786, right? A retest of the 786 would be absolutely huge. So perhaps if we take this as a range, this is your rate of range highs, and now maybe we get a pullback. Hopefully we do. The godly entry here would be amazing. I will enter CETAS if we get back here on leverage, if we get it. Confirmation entry of the 786 flip. If not, flip the 618. Amazing. We can go higher again, right? With whatever. On the lower time frame, you can segment this zone as well. But another one where on confirmation, right, when you see the price action you want to see, it's going to be so easy to manage your trade entries, right? Well, another one, you have a BAT 886 plus 2.618 here. Look, no wonder you're getting such a crazy reaction off it, actually. Um, right here, 886 and then 2.618, right? So hopefully we get a type 2 on this one, right? Because if you're not already in, obviously you missed the entry on this. You can't manage your risk here now. Hopefully we get a type 2 on this one. But well, originally when I shared this in a few other servers I'm in, but it was before we had this breakout here. But this one is not an official call. No, I didn't give us an official call, just as this one looks interesting. But the reason for that is obviously because look, what the fuck is Moonwell, right? Look at the overall chart for this. It's dog shit, right? I'm just looking at the local structure, and the local structure is very, very good here. Right? The local structure is amazing. So 886, right? 2.616, 0.495. Moonwell, if you get a type 2, you have a reason. Even though it's a shit coin, you have a reason to maybe put some money on it, right? The structure is going to be held. Velodrome, BAT 886, don't fade. Look, reclaim has happened. You got a successful weekly retest, and your confirmation is above, right? You can literally enter here, put a stop loss below the retest wick low. No one's going to blame you, right? Um, but this is another one where, look, completed M shape. You're probably looking at a macro bottom in the making, right? If not, who cares? You're hardly risking anything. That's the important thing. The risk is not high to you here, right? Rail Camelot token. Now on the HSHTS exchange, there is a M shape here, if I'm not mistaken. There is a bat. There you go. Right, 886 around here somewhere, and you have gone and flipped that bat into support already. Right, depending on what exchange you use now, this bat won't be present. So if you look at uh, the other exchange I was using, I think it was OKEX or something. The bat wasn't there, right? This lower high was equal high, so I couldn't put a harmonic down. But on HDX, this is a bat, right? So you have a bat and you have a completed M shape, but where again at range lows, key areas, right? So, if you wanted to take a gander at this, you have a reason to do so. What about this? There you go, right? Perhaps imminent breakout, who knows, right? But the structure's there. The range lows have been held. You're not going to be sat here wishing for lower for no reason, right? RSR, another one that has a completed Gartley, as you can see, Gartley 786, right? The 786 held, and then the 618 of the Gartley's been tagged as well. The B point's been tagged. So now, if you're not already in, what you're saying is you either enter at the 786 again, right? If you get a pullback to here, or you enter when the 618 gets flipped, right? Very simple on RSR. But again, completed harmonic framework, right? PRZ matches with key historical areas. Rio, this one looks really, really clean, right? And I've been scalping this one for now. But 618, 786, look, basically 1.618, very, very clean godly here, right? On the weekly, you're attempting a breakout, right? On the daily, you've actually had a breakout retest pretty much, right? So Rio, this one looks good for higher, okay? I am in Rio myself. This one looks good for higher, right? Look, you're targeting your C, your B, and your A, right? Those are your three targets, B, C, and A. Poly X, another one where you have a godly 786 here, 618 here. Nothing to be done on Poly X until you reclaim the godly 786 into support. So again, this one is confirmation based, okay? Reclaim the 786 into support and we can talk about high prices. And Reddit's got a really nice research, fundamental research on this on his channel, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe go check it out. LTO, this one, completed M shape again. You have a Gartley. You're attempting a weekly breakout on the Gartley, right? Once again. You've already had a breakout retest on the daily, so this one looks good to run higher, right? So you've SFP'd range highs for now, but again, this is laddering in, right? Look, initial entry, leave a bulk to DCA in with, split that DCA bulk into two, one where you DCA on downside, another one where you'll enter when the trend shift is confirmed, right? Like I've been saying this entire stream so far. LTO, another one where you can manage your risk. Dusk. Remember this one, right? Dusk protocol. Look at this one. You have a godly 786 right over here, right? Godly 786. You have a godly 618 right over here. So you have a very, very clean godly that's completed. On top of the godly, you also have a bat, right? You have a bat 886 down here too. You have a godly completing here. You have a bat. The bat has reacted, and now you're trying to flip the godly. Right? So you have two completed M shapes on Dusk again, where at the demand line, right? Look, at the demand line. So another one where you could easily manage your risk, right? Around the godly at least. You wouldn't manage your risk around the bat here, you'd manage your risk around the godly. If you lose the godly, aim to get in at the bat lows again. But don't use the godly, right? And manage your risk around here. You can catch the move back up, potentially to between the bats and the godly 6185 to 5, C, and then the A, right? There's Dusk. The Mani protocol, right? Another one. Within a falling wedge, you have a godly. Look, XABCD. Ratio is all adhered to, right? Flip the godly into support to have an entry on the Mani protocol, right? So I'm just speeding through these now because look, the setup's pretty much all the same. Entry would be the same, right? You manage risk management would be the same. CPOL, godly 786, right? You raid it and then you reclaim the godly as support, fill the demand zone, and then you're going higher, right? So CPOL, another one, in my opinion, you should have some spots of if you're looking for an RWA project, right? And again, laddering in if you're entering, right? I'm not going to go over the strategy. I've gone over it so many times. Just ladder in. When I say ladder in, that's the strategy I'm talking about, right? IXS, what you have again, you can see how many godlies are printing across the board right now, right? Across the board, we have a 618, 786, right? The godly got regarded as support, right? This is what you want things to be doing. And look, the 618 got flipped to support as well. This one is gone, right? This one, in all opinion, this one is gone now. You don't have an entry for this now, right? If you ever revisit the 618 and you flip, you see SFPs here, then you have an entry. But until that happens, this one's gone, right? You had your type 2 right over here, and then from the type 2, you have to resend. Right, so now you're just trying to catch a high, low, or like a lower time frame entry on this for access. Okay. RLC, again, godly 786 here. Look from the bottom to the top to here, 618, 786 is right over here. You're currently reclaiming the godly as we speak, right? Look, you're above the godly. You're above the godly. And from here, you're taking that 618 as your target, right? If you flip the 786, is the 618 as the target. So another one where you could easily, like I said, so many where you could easily manage your risk, right? This is the godly on RLC. And again, you're not going to be entering all of these projects. You're going to be picking some that you like and entering, right? GRT, what do you have? Oh, would you look at that? It's another godly, right? 786, 618, 504, 1.54, right? You flip this godly back into support. You flip this godly back into support. If you get that retest, then there's your entry, right? For GRT. Resistance, resistance, support, flip it back into support. You have a entry on GRT as well. Data, another one where you have a shark now, right? You have a shark, you have a completed 886. And off the shark, you've had a reaction and you're making high lows and compressing, right? So data, another one, easy to manage your risks. You're going to be doing it around the extremities, right? Ladder in and enter on a trend shift, like I said, right? Ladder in and then size up either on drawdowns or on the trend shift. Axes, Axie Infinity, what do we have? We have an 886. That needs to be reclaimed before higher on Axie now, right? If you flip that 886 into support, you have a reason to go for the harmonic framework. If you don't flip it to support, no entries for Axie for now. Your key levels have been retapped, of course, but if we're talking harmonic framework now, wait for the flip of the 886, right? Blur, was Blur done? Blur has got a shark. You can see that 1.618 has been hit, right? 1.618. And you're above your 4-month close, right? Your 4-month buy zone, you're above it, you're above the 4-month close. So again, easy to manage your risk here on Blur. Very easy. You're literally at range lows. Just zoom out and look, you're at range lows, right? So easy to manage your risk here. Look, zoom out. You think you've caught a big move, but that's microscopic. Get a microscope out to look at that, right? That's microscopic. So Blur, another one where you can manage your risk really easily. Magic, another one, 1.13 of the short, perfect, right? Right here. Perfect 1.13 of the short into a weekly textbook demand zone, and you're above it. Very easy to manage your risk, right? Super, super easy. If you need a visual aid here, right? Hang on, let me just give you a visual aid. Just put your stop loss below the 1.13, right? If you want to account for some chop, do this. But no matter what you do, even just the top of the harmonic, it's still 8.4 hour trade, right? Magic, amazing areas. Look, range lows, right? Range lows, big time. What do you have on big time? You have this macro bat on big time. You're literally propped up against the resistance for now. if this is confirmed to be resistance again, no entries on big time, right? But if you flip this back into support like this, then you have this entire framework to play with on the left, right? For big time. So big time, another one to keep an eye on. BeamX. BeamX is a bat, right? So it's not exact 886 yet. The exact 886 is a bit deeper, but this is so close to 886 that um, if you do get the breakout and a trend shift, then you have a harmonic framework to work with, right? It's at the end of the day. But again, if you want a cleaner entry for this, perhaps wait for the 886 because you have so many projects already sat at the completed harmonics. There's no point risking it at a harmonic that could complete in the future, right? But yeah, BMAX is another one. Chili's, Chili Shark 1.13, 6-month fair value gap mid, key area, right? Look, Shark, and on top of the Shark, what do we have? We have a type 2, right? You have a type 2 of that Shark from the previous wave structure, right? And then after that, so basically what we're saying is if you flip the 1.13 of the Shark back into support, that's a successful type 2, you're going to try and run it back up to A and C, right? There you go. That's what we're saying. You could probably put a macro harmonic here or a bearish harmonic, right? But another one where you can manage your risk so damn easily. EOS Ultra, right? A gaming token. If we take a look again, 1.13 shark, right? Again, you need to reclaim the shark into support to go higher, but just watch for the reclaim. If the reclaim happens, you have a trade. If the reclaim doesn't happen, you don't have a trade for now. Gala, Gala has a 886 here. Again, flip for entries, no flip, no trade, right? Very, very simple. I know I'm going through this a bit fast, but that's because my headphones are about to die. But I'm just giving you the setups anyway, right? Here you go. Flip for entry, no flip, no trade, right? IMX. Another one we're looking at. Look at this 618, 786, 1.618. This is a perfect godly on MNX. Not MNX, IMX, right? And you're above it. So, entry here, if you close below the 786, just cut. Very easy to manage your risk once again, right? IMX, another A plus setup. Look at this. Beautiful, right? Super, this is Super Farm. You have, another godly, right? 786. And you've had a beautiful reaction into that, what used to be a weekly order block, right? Flip that weekly order block for new entries here now. Okay, you're not going to enter here. This is resistance. You missed the initial entry. Prime, you have a near enough completed bat, a bit deeper for an 886, but you do have a near enough completed bat on Prime. Mega M shape that has finished. So, there's a range that has formed. If you get the range break, flip it to support. That is your entry on Prime. Okay. ACH, Alchemy pair, we have a bat 886, right? And the bat, you are currently above the 886. So as long as you're up there, super easy again to manage risk. Initial entry, if you get any pullbacks, ladder in. If you lose the 886, cut it. And if you get the trend shift, ladder in with the remaining, right? Exact same strategy we were talking about earlier. MDT, measurable data token. This one, again, 886 of the bat at macro demand line, right? All the way from 2020. 86 of the bat. Let me get rid of the brushes. There we go. 86 of the bat, right? And then again, you're off the bat, the reaction is there. So again, very easy to manage your risk on this one, right? Again, many of these are now I'm going through our low caps, right? So if you don't want to get into them, you don't have to. I'm just showing you. If you did want to get into a couple of low caps, right, to try and get a couple moon bags going, then there's some amazing ones at amazing entries, right? That's it. Play, right? Kaya, look what this is. Bat 886, right? So if you flip that into support, you have an entry on Kaya, right? Flow, where you again bat 886, you flip this, which you're trying to do right now. As soon as this weekly closes, you're gonna have it, and then just look for any pullbacks for 86, even better entry. Otherwise, just enter if you see the buy stepping in above, right? Very easy. Again, completed M shape at the 886, which all nice higher low, right? Locally speaking, of course. Again, many of these, right? For example, flow. We know the overall chart for this is absolutely shit, right? You probably don't want to enter this token. I just took the time to chart it, which is why I thought I might as well share it, right? Just in case someone out there wanted some flow in their port for whatever reason. YGG, you have a Gartley. As long as you're below the Gartley, no entries, right? So flip the Gartley into support for entries. And last but not least, Zen, right? Zen has so many harmonics in here, it's not even funny. What do you have? You have a shark, first and foremost. Macro shark, right, for Zen. Look at that macro shark, absolutely crazy. In development since 2020, right? Macro shark. After the macro shark, you got a bat 886, all completing in this area again. After that, you now have a potential for a shark should we want to go deeper here, but you already have two macro harmonics already completing here. This could be a type 2 for this harmonic here, right? So you have key levels here on Zen. Very, very confluential area for you to actually enter a trade. Very easy for you to manage your risk, right? So these are all the harmonic frameworks that I've found, right? Between these and the memes that I've gone over, of course, there's points like Banri, Ondo, right? We've looked at those ones last stream that have completed harmonic structures, completed frameworks for you to manage your risk of, right? So you just choose a couple that you like. Of course, focus on the coins that have narratives. Focus on the coins that are actually showing strength this cycle, that did well, in the first half of this bull so far. Don't focus on dead coins out of all those ones. I just went through, a few in my free time this past week. So I'm just showing you, there's no excuse here to be like, uh, if this is the macro bottom and we do rally from here and people still stay sideline hoping for lower, you've got no one but yourself to blame, right? Because you're at an area now where you can't have such thing as a risk-free trade, right? But you have areas where you can manage your risk really well. We're at those areas as we speak for alts, right? Alts haven't caught bids yet. So definitely, manage your risk. Like I said, laddering in strategy. I'll repeat that one final time. Have an initial entry. Let's say if you have a 10K port, have an initial entry, right? Something like 2K, 3K, however much you want. And then the remainder of that split into two, right? To DCA. One, you're going to DCA on the downside, 50%. The other 50% you're going to DCA with, size up with rather, when you get the trend shift, right? Because then you've got confirmation that, okay, bottom is in, I've entered where I need to, and the trend has also shifted. We're on the buy side now, right? Literally everything that needs to be ticked for you to look for further upside. So that is pretty much all the harmonics that are completed. There's a few uncompleted ones, right, that I'm looking at. So for example, this Gartley on near would be huge, right? 786. We could argue there's a Gartley here because this is pretty close to 786. But one more drive down on near would be absolutely amazing, right? Get that 786. IOTX, right? This batch would be absolutely huge if we got it right here on IOTX. Because I don't think we have yeah, we definitely don't have a godly. So this badge would be huge on IOTX, CRO, right? Coinbase, not Coinbase, Jesus, crypto.com, right? CRO. The 886 just down here again. One could argue a bat with this, right? Because this seems to be a front run, but just in case it's not, this 886 would be huge on Crow. Yes. 2 point token, this shark, 886 at a key area. This would be nice, right? We have Croppy, this 886 on the back. This would be absolutely crazy if we got it. Pendle, if we got this 886 here, again, this would be huge, right? This macro bat 886 on Pendle. Look at the resistance, 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 right? We haven't confirmed the flip of this into support yet, technically speaking. So this would be a huge if we got it on Pendle. We have LCX, right? Again, 886 of the bat would be huge, right? We're just looking at some 886s. ICP, we have a Shark 886 and a Shark 1.618 down at these levels, 446 and 412. If you got it, again, it'd be massive, right? It'd be huge, amazing entries on ICP if you got those. We have PAL AI token, right? There's already some completed harmonics on this. I'll have PAL as spot, right? This is a coin I own, but this 86 here, macro 86, pullback here. Again, I'll just add some more, right? This would be huge. Ori, weekly demand zone down here, 886 again. This is a shark. This would be huge if we got it, right? But we do have a Gartley 786 here as well. The Gartley that has completed. We take a look. Okay, I don't know why I put that down. Clearly, there's a Gartley that has completed over here, right? And that completed Gartley, if you flip that though, right? If you flip this Gartley into support now 786, I won't be blindly waiting for this shock either, right? I'd manage my risk if you wanted to enter all right around the fact we did flip that Gartley 786 into support right over there. FET, we have FET, and why is FET here? If I don't have any harmonics, there we go. XABCD. We have a 886 down over here, right? If it wanted to give us this, then there is a potential 886 to watch out for around. We don't know. Again, some of these you might not get, right? So you're not going to just wait here and hope for them. If you see like structure change, local resistance has been flipped to support, you're going to enter. But I'm just saying on the macro, this would be huge, right? There's the potential is there to get them. PHB, another one. This 86 of the bat would be absolutely huge if you got it. One more drive down, right? This would be nice. Juke, again, why is this invisible? There we go. This 786 Gartley on Juke would be really, really nice. So I'm disregarding this wick. This wick is ugly. I'm taking it from this low to this high. But this 786, if we did get it on Juke, would be absolutely amazing. right? You could go and raid these range lows once, stop everyone out, and then go up, right? The context is there as well. So the 786 on Juke would be huge. And last but not least, I'm looking at JTO. Again, godly, 786, right? It'd be amazing if we got this godly. So those are an example. Those are a few harmonics that could complete, right? And we all gone over a shit ton of harmonics that have already completed, right? I've already broken down my portfolio, what my biggest bags are, so on and so forth in previous streams. I'm not going to do that this stream, but we've gone over some memes that are in amazing places as well, right? So now what we're saying is just like I said, ladder in, patience, and just manage your risk. That's it, right? No one can ask any more of you at these areas. Manage your risk, ladder in, don't go all in at once. And once you do get your entries, let's say you're waiting for a pullback and you do get that pullback, as long as you have not broken key structure, don't be scared to buy either, please, right? Because you should be scared to buy when something's pumped, right? Most people aren't. Most people love to buy when something's pumped. Well, you should be loving to buy when things are down, no one's talking about them, but you're completing technical frameworks, right? The technical frameworks are there, presenting themselves. These are areas where you want to buy, right? So this was my master stream, right? But I compiled this on like just this sort of a big list of just coins that are very actionable areas, right? Choose a few you like. Like I said, the strong ones I went over at the start, right? The things that are up here. The lower we go, obviously, you know which ones are the good picks when you look at the macro chart, right? But we have a lot of setups that are key areas. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this stream. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'll break down a few of my favorites here on my actual channel itself. When I do enter with when I do enter, like I said, any new positions, then I'll put that on my channel. But for now, thank you so much for being here to watch the stream, and I will end this here. Right. So thank you very much, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. So I'll catch you later. Bye bye.